the Sarnia Sting, and we will be underway. Great OHL hockey action here from the Compuware Sports Arena. Hewitt just steers that into the far corner. It's wound up the boards, but not out. Keeping it in, Paul Mara just throws it here into the near corner now. This time it's Drukin coming up with it, tries to dig it loose, comes along the boards, and out comes Harima. Harima works the right side, takes it into the Whalers zone. He's checked off the play, comes in behind the net, trying to get a centering pass, and it's intercepted. Here come the Whalers. Giacomo on the right side, takes it in over the line. He's met by a couple of defensive players there for the Sting. It's taken out of the play, and the Sting wind it right back up ice. Here comes Harima. Left side, he takes a look, drops it back. That's knocked down by Drukin. Great back checking there by Harold. Ties his men up on the far boards. Coming in to help out now, Eric Gouldy. Swept it over here to the near side, and down the ice it goes. Whalers making the player change, as are the Sting. First minute of play here at the Compuware Sports Arena. The Plymouth Whalers hosting the Sarnia Sting. The Whalers bring it into the Sting zone, chasing it down now behind his net. Down here to the near side, off the stick of Willers, kept in, digging it out of the corner, but the Sting control, and out they come. Left side, skating it right up the line is Jamieson. Jamieson skates in, tries to get a centering pass. That's knocked down. Coming in to pick that one up, Legwan steers it to the far corner. Up with it, Valtanen. Valtanen right through center ice. Takes a look as he goes over the line, tries to get past the defense. Little tiptoe there, finally keeps his balance. Play comes here to the near side. Whalers still trying to control in deep. It's Rick Smith. He's in the corner. He's got two Sarnia Sting players there with him. Out and out comes Valtanen. Valtanen tried to get a centering pass, went right through the top of the crease area there in front of the netminder Hewitt. That shot knocked down by the defense, comes outside the line. Play is loose at center ice, where it's taken over by Sean Fisher. Fisher wheels in his own end, just throws it off the boards. Play loose at center. The Sting try to bring it into the Whalers zone. Knocked down, loose at center once again, and it goes in over the line. We'll have an icing call here in the first couple of moments of this hockey game. No score.
And it's going to be the new offside rule that comes into effect here as Darren Barahowski rules that the Sarnia Sting dumped it in too deep, too quickly, and the faceoff will come back in Sarnia territory. Darren Barahowski, the brother of NHL defenseman Drake Barahowski, formerly of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I believe he's with the Edmonton Oilers, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment.
Facing it out, Julian Smith tries to control for the Whalers. It's loose in the circle. Out of that scrum comes Fitzgerald. Near side, Mara comes in, skates it into the corner, back to Fitzgerald. Leaves it for Mara, comes right around, looking for a wraparound up against the post was Hewitt, kept that one out. Keeping it at the point, a good job there. Robichaud skates it here to the near side. This time the Sting, Julius Halfkenny brings it up here in the near boards. That one intercepted by Mara, and he just throws it high and deep into the back corner. And we get a offside call the other way this time, just as you called a moment ago, John.
That's another intentional offside. The rule is that if the team is coming out and the puck is dumped deep into the zone, it can be ruled as an intentional offside. If it's like a 9-iron shot, a high rainbow shot into the offensive zone, well then the referee has the discretion to allow the play to continue so long as the defensive team is moving the puck forward out of their own zone.
Sarnia Sting facing off in the play there. Plymouth Whalers zone. Whalers try to find a handle on it, comes loose in front, and Zepp knocked that one aside at the last second. Got just a piece of it, enough to keep it out of his crease and into the far corner. Now we're at center ice, taking over the line, a mile offside there. Surma trapped inside the line as he got tangled up with a defenseman. That'll bring the faceoff outside the Sarnia zone.
Andre Robichaud runs a little bit of interference on Chris Birdie in the defensive zone, upends him. However, Birdie is able to swing at the puck as he's laying on the ice and almost deflects it past Rob Zepp into the far corner.
Chris Birdie on this faceoff for Sarnia. Coach DeBoer taking advantage of the last line change here as he brings out Harold Drukin along with Giacomo and Gouldy. Giacomo to take this faceoff, brings it back to Harold Drukin. Drukin for Mara. Mara comes here on the near side, finds Drukin breaking in on the left side. Nifty stick handling into the slot, turns, fires! That hits a skate and bounces harmlessly here to the corner. Great opportunity there for Harold Drukin. Just missing that one as it hit a leg. Back into the Sting zone it goes. Hewitt tries to steer it here to the near side, but it doesn't get outside the zone. The Whalers try to keep it in, but can't. Here comes Birdie. Birdie breaks into the Whaler end. He's taken out of the play nicely by Merritt. Goes loose behind the net where it's picked up by Polinick. Polinick back now to Birdie. Polinick couldn't handle it, so it comes out to center ice. Neutral ice play in over the line. Skating right in. Quick shot and a great save made that time by Hewitt. Oh my. Whalers very dangerous on that opportunity, getting past the defense and getting a good quality shot on the netminder, Greg Hewitt.
Well, Harold Druken split through the D. He lost the handle on the puck initially, then got a wrister in on the netminder. Hewitt as he goes down in the butterfly. But it was a bad line change by the Sarnia Sting that set up the rush for the Whalers. Chris Birdie, instead of knocking the puck back down into Plymouth territory, he kept going to the bench. That was his puck to play.
Oh boy. Goaltender could have nightmares about that with Harold Druken breaking in like that. David Legwan takes the face-off for Plymouth. Controlled off the face-off into the far corner off the stick of Valtonen. The Sting have it. Their own blue line up on the left wing. Left something behind him, pick it up at loose, into the zone. Oh my, may have gotten away with one there, little hook. Heavy hit in the far corner as the Whalers, oh my! A vicious hit right there. Jared Newman took right off from Julius Halfkenny, I believe it was, and Halfkenny's going to get the gate. He left his skates there, John, no doubt about that one.
Well, actually, it's Rob Polinack who's getting the gate for the Sarnia Sting. He comes crashing through Jared Newman down in the left wing corner, and the Whalers will go to the first power play of the evening. As we will see down in the corner as Jared Newman gets up, and you can see he is just absolutely leveled by Polinack. Harima had knocked Newman down. He had just gotten back up onto his feet. The Whalers heading into tonight's game with the best power play in the OHL, 56% at home, 37.4% overall. The Sarnia Sting on the penalty kill. They are number one, 88.9% on the PK.
This is a great matchup. Top penalty kill versus the top power play. Let's see what the Whalers do with this one. Right now the Sting just cleared down the ice, and Zepp is going to leave it there for Paul Mara. Mara winds it up out of his own zone. Paul with good speed through center, takes a look at the blue line, dropping it in offside. Here come the Sting the other way. They're 2-on-2 shorthanded. Up on the left wing and over the line, taking a look, Novoseltsev. He's taken out of the play, and right back come the Whalers. This is David Legwan. He's in over the line, drops it back, quick shot wide of the mark off the stick of Valtonen. Puck is loose at center ice, picking it up, skating right in. Here come the Sarnia Sting, short-handed, a quick shot, they score! Oh my!
Well, the Whalers get caught up ice,
yes,
Eric, as the rush was a 3-on-1 for Plymouth, but both Peter Kava and Ivan Novoseltsev were trapped deep in Plymouth territory. Nick Chelios on the left wing side for the Whalers could not cut off the lane as Novoseltsev breaks in off the left wing side in the neutral zone, snaps it upstairs over top of the blocker of Rob Zepp.
Wow.
That is the fourth shorthanded goal that the Plymouth Whalers have given up this season. As you see, Novoseltsev coming in, and at the last moment, Chelios tries to cut the lane off with the slash, but it wasn't enough. Rob Zepp down to the butterfly before the shot was taken.
Ooh, look at this angle. This is a nice shot here, fans. Watch this. Ooh. Talk about picking your spot, John. Back to the action now on the power play for Plymouth Whalers. 1-0 to score now. Sarnia over Plymouth on the shorthanded goal. And the Whalers bring it in deep. This is Harold Druken chasing it down into the corner. They can't get there. Chelios tried to keep it in at the line and couldn't. Has to come back in his own zone and pick up the puck. Back through center. Gouldy just tipped it in once again, but it's knocked down the ice by the Sting in the penalty killing role, doing an excellent job thus far. 45 seconds remain now in the power play for the Plymouth Whalers. Near side, Gouldy throws it over on the right wing. Giacomo pulls up. Bouncing puck, trying to keep it in the zone. They do. Swept over the boards the far side. Right out for Gouldy. Gouldy threw it back in the corner. Here comes Druken. Back down behind the net. Tried to find Gouldy out front. Bounces over the top of the net. Comes here to the near boards. Here comes Sarnia once again shorthanded. They just throw it down the ice. 15 seconds remain now in the power play for Plymouth. It's left loose there for Druken, who picks up the puck. Plymouth now very deliberate this time as they bring it up ice here on the right side. Taking it over, Randy Fitzgerald tries to get through the defense, couldn't do so. And the Whalers have to pick it back up at center. Here comes Sarnia once again. Trying to get Ivan Novoseltsev loose again and couldn't do so. Paul Mara in control now with Sarnia back to full strength. Sarnia taking a look at it now. 1-0 to score. Sarnia over Plymouth here, 14 minutes to go here in the first period. Action deep now in the Sarnia zone. Goaltender Hewitt takes a look, sweeps it over the boards far side, but not out. Throwing it right out front off the stick that time of Jared Newen, no one there. The Sting clear it loose at center. Up now for Casey Wallach. He's in over the line. Offside with that whistle. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. Back to the action just off the center ice face-off circle. 13:42 remaining here in the first period. The Sarnia Sting 1, the Plymouth Whalers nothing. On a short-handed goal. Controlled now at center, this time by Sarnia as they try to move it up ice. Into the offensive zone. It's whistled down, and that'll bring it outside the zone. Let's go downstairs to Gary Durak for an arena report. Gary?
Eric, I'm with the Whalers, Kevin Holdridge. Well, Kevin is right now serving a little bit of a 4-game vacation. Kevin, what did you do to earn that vacation?
Well, last Thursday in Windsor, our team got a little bit of a brawl. It started off as 5-on-5. Everyone was fighting on the ice, and 4 guys from their team jumped the bench, and 2 guys from our team jumped the bench. And one of our rookies was in a little bit of trouble, so I went over there and tried to help him out a little bit and got 3rd man in. So that's a 2-game automatic suspension right there. And they added on 2 games just because they didn't really like it that much.
One of the things a lot of people don't know about what goes on at this level, you guys are still in school. Tell us about that.
Right. I'm a senior at Catholic Central High School right now, and most of the younger kids are in high school still. And you know, you gotta do both, play hockey and do school, because school is just as important as hockey is right now. And I'm a senior this year, and I have fun over there at high school. And when I come to the rink, I play hockey. So it's good to get away from hockey sometimes and go to high school.
What about the guys who don't have the luxury of being so close to home? How do they do school?
Well, I'm sure it's tough for them to move away from home and go to school, but it's part of it playing in this league, and they adjust pretty well to it. And it's just part of playing in the OHL.
Kevin, thanks for joining us. Eric, back up to you.
Thanks, Gary. Great job. Kevin Holdridge, of course, for the Plymouth Whalers. Whalers in control now on their own end as they look to break it up ice here on the left side. Knocking it down at the blue line. The Sting try to bring it back, and they do temporarily. Paul Mara has it now for Plymouth. All the way up through center, tried to find David Legwine, comes up with a loose puck. Legwine in over the line, beats the defense, he's in, he shoots just wide. David Legwine with an opportunity, it's loose off the side of the net, and Hewitt comes out. He's had enough of that and finally gets the trapper on it. Covers that one up, and great speed by David Legwine beating the defense.
Well, Legwine cuts in off the right wing side on his off wing. The puck just seemed to roll off his stick at the last moment as he tried to stuff it around the very small goaltender, Craig Hewitt. During the interview, Eric, that Gary had with Kevin Holdridge, we saw Kevin Holdridge's father a lot of support here for the family, as once again you see Legwine losing control of the puck as it rolls into the corner. But as Kevin said, it's one of the advantages of living at home. The fact that he gets the support of his family. His parents are very adamant that he always has to do his homework before he goes out and does anything after hockey practice.
Chelios over to Mara. Mara keeps it at the blue line, comes into the corner. Giacomo. He takes a look. Brings it back to the line. Threw it right out front. Gouldy looking for a deflection out front. Tipped to the near corner. Gouldy now controls out of the corner. Trying to do a little cycling here. Right out front. Harold Drukin, a backhander. It's loose, and it cleared out of there in front of the netminder Hewitt by the defense. A great job. It kept in by Harold Drukin. Throws it into the corner for Gouldy. Eric takes a look, puts it behind the net for Giacomo. Threw it into the far side, where it's controlled by Sarnia this time, and out they come. Ivan Novoseltsev in over the line. He's got the lone goal here tonight. Tried to get a pass on the far side for Dusty Jamieson. Went too far. Now it's tapped in behind the net. And the Whalers try to clear their zone. Here comes Plymouth. Long pass at center. Gets by everybody. It's going to be covered there by the Sarnia Sting. Unable to clear the zone, however. Now it's finally loose at center ice. Here comes Sarnia. This time it's Peter Cavas. He takes it in. Taken away from him by his opposite, number 14, Jamie Lalonde. Back down to the Sarnia defensive zone. Plymouth tries to apply the pressure, try to get it in the zone. They do, but they got to touch up, get back on side, but here come the Sting once again. They lift it into the near corner. Chasing it down now. Sean Fisher defensively gets there, up for Randy Fitzgerald. Randy just throws it into center ice area once again. This time it's picked off by the Sting, but not back the other way enough. Taking over, Sean Fisher. Good speed, Lalonde on the right side. Lalonde throws it in behind the net. Fitzgerald comes in to pick up the puck on the boards. Back into the corner for Smith. Smith tries to dig it out. Smith to the near side. Little pushing and shoving going on here now as they try to come out with a loose puck. Julian Smith. Randy Fitzgerald. Lalonde out in front of the net. Takes a little hit from behind as Fitzgerald does the work on the near boards. Trying to dig it out of the corner as Smith comes into the slot. A quick shot and a big save made by Hewitt. That was off the stick of Jamie Lalonde. We're going to have an icing call here as it goes the length of the ice, and it's touched up by the Plymouth Whalers. Good opportunity there for Plymouth. Great puck handling, finally getting a shot on goal.
Well, they're powering it out at the corner, Eric, and that's exactly what the Whalers need to do. That was one of our keys to the game tonight, is that the Whalers need to win the battles along the boards in the offensive zone, play hard in the corners, and the Whalers with the line of Julian Smith, Randy Fitzgerald, and Jamie Lalonde, that's really their grinding line out there. It's the line that will really wear down the Sarnia Sting as the game goes on tonight.
Got one final in from this afternoon, John. The Ottawa 67s over the Generals. That's a big one, 9-1.
Well, the Generals are struggling early in this OHL campaign. The Ottawa 67s are right up with the Plymouth Whalers. They're ranked number 3 in Canada amongst the 3 major junior hockey leagues.
From the face-off, the Whalers control. Here's Purdy. He tries to come up with it behind the net. Scrambling play, now finally taken over by Sarnia. Purdy finally finds a handle on a loose puck. Chris Purdy taken out of the play on the far side, this time by Polinick. Now it comes right back to Hewitt. He steers it aside for his defense, Dan Watson, who couldn't get it out, so he throws it up on the left wing. Now here to the near boards it comes. Picking it up, Greg Willers. Throwing it into the zone, trying to get a centering pass. That's intercepted nicely there. A good job by Damian Surma. And the Whalers try to turn it over, but it's going to go all the way down the ice. We have an icing call here at the touch-up. And with that, we'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. Be to the right of the Whaler netminder, Rob Zepp. See how they handle this one. Clear their own zone on the far side. Peter Sarno controls this draw, but the Whalers come up with it. Went right to Zepp, but just stick that one aside at the very last second. Now the Whalers break it up ice. Once again looking for the pass off the boards, that time trying to find Rick Smith. Smith comes up with a puck behind the net to avoid the icing call. Quick Smith wheels right out into Paul Mara. He throws it out front looking for a deflection, but the Sting bring it back to the blue line, kept in by Legwan. Legwan, a great job of stick handling here. Paul Mara. Chelios looks. Chelios throws it into the corner. Rick Smith, Legwan, has it bounced up on the try. Legman scores! On a wraparound to the right of the netminder, Greg Hewitt. Concentration, the name of the game there, John. He was able to slip it past the netminder.
Well, I think what happened, Eric, if we can see it on the replay, that it was actually the second attempt at stuffing that Legwan puts it through the wickets of Hewitt. Hewitt now actually coming out and practicing his angles. We have to see exactly what happened there, but I do believe that it was the second attempt by David Legwan to wrap it around. As there's the puck behind the net, Tommy Vaulton then throws the hit on his man, and then there's Legwan. He comes out. The first stuffing attempt, no, it does go in on the first. It did go in.
David Legwan tying the hockey game at 1. Great job there of keeping good puck control in behind the net and off the side of the net. Looking for another attempt in close that time was Harold Druken and Kalajakamo. Harold Druken shoots from behind the net, looking for a deflection off the netminder. Didn't get that, comes here to the near side. Harold Druken out there along with Eric Gouley, Kalajakamo, Fisher over for Druken. Druken tries to settle it down, he fires a pad save. The rebound cleared out to the line, Fisher keeps it in. Kalajakamo works it off the boards. The offensive line out there working hard for Plymouth, trying to make something happen one more time. Deep into the corner, this time for Sarnia. They try to clear it out. Good heavy hitting in there by the Whalers to try to keep the forecheck going. Whalers dig it off the boards, comes over for Sean Fisher. He fakes the shot, tees it up, throws it into a crowd in behind the net. Comes here to the near side once again for Sarnia. They try to clear the zone and finally do. This time it's Jared Newman in control. Over for Fisher. Defensively, the Whalers are in good shape right now. Here on the near side, here comes Harold Druken one more time. Druken with a drive, and that's way wide in behind the net. That goes up off the glass and into the crowd in the far side.
And Greg Hewitt actually had a bad angle coming in as Druken streaks off the left wing side. He had the whole far side of the cage as Hewitt was deep in the net, but he tried to go short side, hit the crossbar, and it redirected out. Pardon me, it went over the crossbar, hit the top of the glass, and redirected out of play.
Face-off will be to the right of the netminder, Greg Hewitt. See what Julian Smith can do with this one for Plymouth. Trying to control off the draw. Face-off's very important in the offensive zone as well as the defensive zone. That one bounces high right to Hewitt. He's not taking any chances with that one and just kind of holds it against his check. chest rather, and gets another face-off to his right.
Slow developing play off of the face-off. Palomara has to wait for the screen to get in front of Hewitt. Lets a high-risk shot go in on Greg Hewitt, who attended the Chicago Wolves training camp of the International Hockey League this year. He makes the easy save as he saw it all the way.
Again, Julian Smith for the Whalers. Tips it into the corner. And the Sting bring it right back the other way. Greg Willers defensively has Malcolm here on the near boards. He couldn't clear the zone. Now it's over on the far side where the Sarnia Sting have it through center ice. Halfkenny just backhands it right into the Plymouth zone. Knocked down the left there. On to Robichaud. Over for Julian Smith. We've got a penalty coming up behind the play, and it's going to cost Lalonde 2 minutes, I think. It looks like Jamie Lalonde's going to get the gate on this one, John, and this will put the Sarnia power play on the ice. Let's see what the Whalers can do in this shorthanded situation.
Well, Jamie Lalonde hauls down Ryan Hare with a trip at the blue line, and that's why the Whalers are going to be shorthanded here. Whalers coming into the game. They have one of the top penalty kills in the league, second behind the Sarnia Sting at 86.5%. The Sarnia Sting on the power play, 24.2%. The Sarnia Sting on the road, only 17.9% efficiency on the power play. So Jamie Lalonde sitting off for hopefully the next 2 minutes.
Maybe just a soft call on the part of referee Dawson, but nevertheless, if he calls it that way all night both ways, it'll be all right. This time, the Whalers are killing off the Sarnia Sting power play here to the near side. Then Busker winds it in, round the boards. Randy Fitzgerald gets there. He sidesteps a check, lets it go, trying to keep it in. The Sting do. Knocked down, deflected over the top of the net. And the Sting try to control while they have the power play here in the Plymouth Whaler end. Whalers trying to get a handle on it, couldn't get it out. Here at the near side, big 6A by Zepp, goes into the corner, this time controlled by Chelios. And he's just going to kill off some time before he drives it hard off the glass right in front of our broadcast booth here, checking to make sure nobody's sleeping down there.
Well, that's why when you're in the building, you always have to make sure that you keep your eye on the puck. But a good job by Nick Chelios. Instead of driving the disc down into the offensive zone, he shags it. That's the right idea. He shags the puck back in his own zone on the right wing side, trying to kill off the Lalonde tripping penalty. But in hindsight, he probably should have iced the puck because it would have killed more time off the clock.
Right. Jamie Lalonde looking for enjoying his rest. I don't know if he's enjoying it all that much, but nevertheless, it is a power play opportunity for the Sarnia Sting for another minute and 20 seconds. Out they come. Here's Harima. Good speed in over the line, but he's met there heavily by the Plymouth Whalers' Fisher. Fisher and Harima doing battle now behind the net, and Fisher gets the better of that one. Off the boards, right through center ice, just missed. David Legwine could not quite find the handle on that. And back into the Whalers zone once again. Short-handed our Plymouth Whalers for another minute. 1 minute now to go in the Sting power play. They try to keep it in play. Willers throws it here on the near boards. They try to work it around. Legwine has it now. Takes a look, just going to kill off some time. David Legwine just kind of feathers it here into the near corner. That'll take some more seconds off. 45 seconds remaining now in this power play for the Sarnia Sting. Here comes Van Busker. He's at his own blue line on the power play. Takes a long clearing shot into the Plymouth Whalers zone. Gobbled up that time by Paul Mara and brings it right back to center. Julian Smith chases down the loose puck at center ice. He comes up with it. He's 1-on-3 and over the line. Tries to get a shot away, loose in the slot. Good job by Julian Smith. Tried to get the pass back to Fitzgerald. Just missed that opportunity. And Malcolm has it here on the right side. Power play, 15 more seconds to go now for Sarnia. Comes loose behind the net. Picking up that one, Jared Newman. Sweeps it up the boards, but not out. Kept in by the Sting, going in behind the net. This time it's Cava. Cava tries to work it off the boards, threw it out front, intercepted by Mara, and brought it right back in behind the net. 1 second. Plymouth now back to full strength, trying to clear the zone. The Sting trying to keep it in play. Throwing a pass right out front into the slot. That's deflected by the defense. Comes down to Jared Newman. He bounces with it a little bit, juggles it, finally gets a stoppage of play. They successfully killed off that opportunity for the Sarnia Sting.
Well, Eric, the Whalers, they cannot afford to be going into the penalty box all that often this evening either, as the Sarnia Sting will certainly take advantage of it. So to recap the scoring so far in the game, Ivan Novoselicev short-handed early in the period. That is his 16th goal of the season, 22nd point. And then David Legwine at the 10:24 mark of the opening frame. He ties the game up with his 9th goal of the year.
Face-off to the right, to the left rather, of the netminder Rob Zepp for the Plymouth Whalers. And looking to control out of the Plymouth Whalers to clear the zone, which they do. It's going to go all the way down the ice. Racing for it now to avoid the icing call, but they're not going to make it as it's touched up there and brought back up the ice for a face-off once again in the Whaler end.
Back to touch it is the newest Sarnia Sting, Dave Kornakia. He was acquired from the Sudbury Wolves earlier this week. The Sarnia Sting traded former first-round draft pick Abe Herbst and Kevin Moda up to the Nickel City. So the Wolves giving up Dave Kornakia in return for those two prospects.
Again, the face-off to the left of Rob Zepp. See what happens this time with Harold Druken. Flips it in behind the net. Defensively, the Whalers are trying to control. Working it off the board. Jamieson tried to throw it in the slot area there. That's deflected into the corner. Comes here to the near side. Now it goes in behind the net. Comes loose in front. And a great save there by Zepp. He kept an eye on that one as that was bouncing all over the place through his crease. Gouldy throws it into the far corner, chasing it down now. Giacomo gets there along with the netminder Hewitt. He brought it up on the left side. That in turn brought to center ice. Off the stick of Prostanerki. He just threw it into the Plymouth end this time. Here come the Whalers. Eric Gouldy works the left side. Throws it into the far corner again. Giacomo goes after it. Right there with him is Breckelmans. Play loose in the slot. The Sting cleared out the center. Paul Mera over for Fisher. Fisher sweeps it back up. Giacomo knocks it down in front of his own bench. Sting are trying to get the handle on it. And they finally do in front of their own area. And it's tipped down into the Plymouth Whalers zone where it's touched up. Plymouth's Paul Mera bangs it hard off the glass but not out. Controlled now this time by Valtonen. Valtonen skates it right through center. He's 1-on-2 and over the line with a quick shot. And a big save made there by Hewitt. With that whistle, we'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone, and we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other, to find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation.
Jimmy Valtonen, who is nicknamed the Animal, comes in off the right wing side, uses the defenseman as a screen, and with a snapshot on Greg Hewitt. But at the other end of the rink, an acrobatic save made by Rob Zepp moments earlier to keep this game tied at 1 apiece.
Face off to the left of the netminder Hewitt. Controlled by the Sting in their own zone. Dusty Jamieson, he's ridden hard into the boards in the corner. He comes out of that one okay, but the puck is loose at center for Paul Mera. Over for Fisher. Fisher at center ice. Finds Rick Smith. He wheels in his own end. Is going to bring it right back through center. He runs right into Bolton. Miscommunication there. They get back up. Everybody's okay. Whalers in control. Long lead pass at center. Gets by everybody. We'll have an icing call here as it's touched up by Willers. And with that whistle, it'll bring the face-off the length of the ice back down into the Plymouth Whaler end with 3:57 to go here in the first period. We're tied at 1. Shorthanded goal by the Sting got things going here in this hockey game. But the Plymouth Whalers came back to tie it on a nice goal by David Legwan.
And Eric, talking about the Whalers and another good crowd here at the Compuware Sports Arena. Next Saturday night, the Whalers host the Kitchener Rangers, and it's canned food drive next week. So if you bring in 3 non-perishable food items to the Compuware Sports Arena to purchase a ticket throughout the week, you will get $1 off an end zone seat at the CSA for next Saturday night's game. And if you can't make it to the rink, it's right here on Media One.
Controlled now by Plymouth here on the near side. They try to work it up along the boards. Chelios, he's ridden out of the play by O'Hare. Now comes the Sting at center. Malcolm throws it in deep, sweeping it in behind the net all the way around the near side. Hare tries to come up with it. Van Buskirk has it instead, drives it hard off the boards, knocking it down in the corner, going into the opposite side this time is Truskanicki. He brings it back in behind the net. There's 2 Whalers. Throw it right out front. Oh my, the Whalers may have gotten away with one there. All kinds of traffic out in front of the net, but here they come. Nick Chelios, 3-on-2 if they hurry. Chelios in over the line. He takes a look, tries to get a pass, instead comes right around the net with it. Chelios out to the point for Fisher. Back to Chelios. Chelios threw a shot that hit a leg of a Sarnia Sting player. Comes loose behind the net once again. Far corner for Damian Surma. I'll get it out. Surma tries to come up with a loose puck but can't. Kroskornicki has it now defensively for the Sarnia Sting. Slow rolling puck into the Plymouth zone. Taken over by Chelios once again for Fisher. Fisher just lifts a long, lazy pass deep into the Sarnia zone. It's loose now behind the net for Lalonde. Jamie Lalonde works it out, but is controlled instead by Rob Polinick. Polinick on the left side. Drop pass back, intercepted by Plymouth, and out they come with it. This is Randy Fitzgerald, 1-on-3, trailing the play. Lalonde, Fitzgerald by his man. Fitzgerald tries to get a wrap around the near side. Right out front for Fisher. He got the shot away. Cleared behind the net by Watson. Dan Watson doing a great job for the Sarnia Sting. Here come the Sting now, right at the Whaler blue line. Met there nicely and taken out of the play by Randy Fitzgerald. Fisher just lifts that one high to center. Willers has that. Back to Fisher once again. He lets it go for Newman. Garrett just throws it up here on the right side. Giacomo with good speed in over the line. Couldn't control it, however, and the Sting come out with it. Harima at center. They're 2-on-2 in over the line. Harima bothered a little bit as he goes in over the line. It's whistled down offside. And a break there, but...
And the Whalers actually, Eric, are going to the power play. The Whalers are going to go to the power play because Jeff Harima was knocked down by Paul Mara as the whistle went. And then Harima took exception to it and slashed Paul Mara right in front of referee Daryl Dawson. So the Whalers are going to another power play.
Take a look around the OHL last night. John, some interesting scores there.
Well, when you take a look at the Western Division, the Sioux over the Bay 5-1. Windsor gets hammered in Kingston 8-2. The Frontenacs needed that win because they're talking about starting to trade some of their big players.
Ouch.
So, you're taking a look at it, and the Ottawa 67s defeated the London Knights last night by a score of 5-1 in the nation's capital. The London Knights were hoping to start the road trip off with a big victory, and instead they take the loss at the hands of the 67s.
Harold Druken has skated very strong here in this period right now, and he's on the ice along with Kala Giacomo. Gets it up to Gouldy, now to Harold Druken. Druken pulls up at center ice, try to get a backhanded pass, taken over now by Chelios. Chelios drives a hard clearing shot into the zone. Here to the near side, trying to dig it loose. Druken let it go into the corner for Gouldy. Gouldy tried to dig it out, keeping it in this time is Paul Mara. Far side, quick shot taken, deflected just wide. That was off the stick of Chelios. It comes back to him again. Throws it in to Druken, who couldn't handle that, and it's cleared down the ice. Netminder Zepp was going to stop that one and leave it for Paul Mara. With 1 minute to go here in this first period, both teams making a quick player change. And we've got a power play on the ice here now for the Plymouth Whalers. Penalty call that I missed, John. Harold Druken tries to wind it up behind the net. The Whalers setting this up now with Gouldy. Gouldy in the corner, back over to Druken. This is a power play for the Plymouth Whalers right out front. Gouldy couldn't find the stick on it as he was all tied up by Watson. Keeping it in at the point. Good job there by Mara. Tried to throw it in deep, but that's intercepted and cleared by Watson. Down the ice it goes. 30 seconds to go here in the first period. Taking his man out of the play nicely. Rob Polinick looking for a short-handed opportunity. Paul Mara would have none of that. 35 seconds remain now on this power play for the Plymouth Whalers. It's going to carry over into the second period as we're down to 20 seconds remaining. Here comes the Plymouth one more time. Play now loose at center ice for David Legwan. Skates it over to the far side. Fisher back to Legwan. 8 seconds, 5 seconds down. First period winding down. It's going to end up in a 1-1 tie. Scrambling play off the side of the net. Goes over to the far boards at the buzzer, and we got a little skating by one another. Everything seems to be pretty cool. A very quick comment here, John Bauer. Interesting period of hockey.
Well, the Whalers themselves got caught on a bad rush, which cost them a goal here early on, the shorthanded goal by.
Here at the beginning of the second period, Legwan going up against Kava. Won by the Whalers, and they just take it into the Sarnia zone. Sarnia comes back in a shorthanded situation, trying to clear it out. They can't. There's a big heavy hit here in the near corner, and whistled down for some reason. I'm not sure why. See the score, and just a few seconds left on the power play now here for the Whalers.
Well, Eric, while we have a moment, let's take a look at the OHL out-of-town scoreboard. One other game in the Western Division right now, the Peterborough Petes lead the Windsor Spitfires 1-0 as Tommy Valtonen takes down his man down in the right wing corner. Actually, one other game in the Western Division, Belleville leads London by a score of 2-1. So now the Whalers getting some help from their friends out east.
Hey, you betcha. That one's cleared down the ice by Sarnia, and that'll just about do as it goes in over the line. Have an icing call here as it's touched up. No, play continues, I'm sorry. Here comes Paul Mara. He's met at the blue line where it's taken away from him. And Sarnia has it now. Taking it into the zone, looking to get a shot away was Greg Willers. He had it poked away from him. Now it comes loose outside the line once again. And the Sting just drop it back into the Whaler zone. This time it's Kava. He looked for a centering pass. Quick shot and a big save there made by Zepp. Kept an eye on that one all the way. Off the stick of the Sarnia player deep in the slot. Sarnia falls back defensively inside their own blue line and bring it up here to Malcolm. Malcolm tried to get it to Kava. Goes in behind the net for Zepp. Sweeps it off the boards but not out. Throwing it right out front. Steered harmlessly here to the near side. Jameson throws it in behind the net. That pass intercepted by Harold Druken. Has it taken away by Jameson here in the near corner. Druken comes back and picks it up. Gets it up to Valtonen. Valtonen tried to clear the zone. Now it's back to Paul Mara defensively for Plymouth. He tries to get control of the puck. Harold Druken finally comes up with it. Great speed. Got one man to beat if he can get inside him. He does. Harold Druken shoots and a big save. Rebound goes over the top of the net as the shot was followed up by Eric Gouldy in a dynamite bang-bang play there by Plymouth.
And we have seen that so many times this year. Harold Druken, a nice little fake at the blue line as he makes a head fake to the outside. You see him cut across the grain, goes around Corey Brinklemans, takes the wrist shot. Both Van Buskirk and Brinklemans go on Druken. Gouldy standing there with the rebound. He puts it upstairs, but it actually hit the crossbar after it went off of the netminder. That is Greg Hewitt, and redirects out of play.
Hewitt really did a good job there, I think, John. He covered up a lot of territory and didn't leave him much room on top. He was in so close, and he did get a piece of it, as you pointed out.
Well, that's right. He went down, took out the bottom half of the net, and that's where Eric Gouldy would have shot normally. When you're in that tight, you go down for the bottom part of the cage.
Face-off will be to the right of the netminder Hewitt, controlled by the Whalers. Fisher with a drive, high over the top of the net. Comes off the glass, and out come the Sarnia Sting. Loose at center ice, picking it up is Hare. He's in over the line on Fisher. Fisher rides him out of the corner, and it bounces harmlessly to the netminder, Rob Zepp. He hangs out of that one. He'll be looking at a face-off to his left.
And right on the doorstep, searching for a rebound, is the captain of the Sarnia Sting, Andrew Proskernicki, one of my favorite players, and not because he plays the good old Canadian style like Don Cherry would say. It's actually because the kid grew up down the street from me just outside of Toronto. He grew up with my brother, Andrew Proskernicki, a product of the Burlington City Rep program. And of course, you know, Steve Spott, the associate coach or the assistant coach of the Whalers, may disagree about how great the city of Burlington is. Of course, he being from the city of Toronto, and his father involved with the North York Hockey Club in Tier 2 Junior A.
The competition never stops, I tell you, fans, at all levels, hometowns, whatever it is. Hockey's a great sport for that. Here come the Sarnia Sting now. They're trying to get something going offensively, and the Whalers will have none of that. Quick shot. That's off the skate here on the near side of Julian Smith. He controls that one out to center ice, and here come the Whalers 3-on-2 if they hurry. Fitzgerald taken out of the play, left there at the blue line, coming back to cover Sarnia, and they bring it back through center ice, and there's your favorite player, Andrew Proskernicki. It's taken away by him, or from him rather. And here come the Whalers once again. This is Lalonde. He's met at the blue line. Checked off the play in behind the net. Randy Fitzgerald brings it out to the point. Chelios throws it in behind the net. Comes loose now into the corner. Scrambling play. Unable to control the Whalers, so the Sarnia Sting come out with it. Looking for the lead pass, just missing there. Off the stick of Sarno, and we get a stoppage of play on a whistle. Little traffic control problem there at the bench area there for the Sarnia Sting.
And going off right now is Peter Sarno, number 18 for the Sarnia Sting. He is the two-time defending OHL scoring champion, was traded in the offseason at the OHL draft from the Windsor Spitfires to the Sarnia Sting. The Spitfires picked up a couple of draft picks. Only one player actually made the club. That's Ryan Courtney, the rookie. So some of the fans in Windsor scratching their head as to the trade, going, you know, did we get fleeced or what? Because Ryan Courtney, he may develop, but the question is he going to be as potent as Peter Sarno is when it comes to lighting the lamp?
Kornakia drives it into the Plymouth Whaler end. Valtonen here on the near side. Cava tries to keep it in play in the offensive zone for the Sarnia Sting. Works it back along the boards. Cava throws it into the corner. Little give and go. Cava comes up with a puck. Legwan rides him out of the play nicely. And up with it now is Newman. Jared Newman, he sidesteps a check. Comes back with a puck in the opposite corner. Throws it up the boards. Tried to clear it out. Rick Smith did a good job bringing it out to neutral ice. Julius Halfkenny brings it right back. Quick shot taken on Zepp. Has no trouble with that one. Valtonen on the near side lets it go for Legwan. David Legwine works the right wing, pulls it up the blue line. It's onside, but the Sting control, and they turn it up ice the opposite way. Far side, Cava takes a nice pass, goes into the slot, leaves it for Kanakia. He tries to get a shot, going down the block that one. A good job there by Newman. Play continues now for the Sarnia Sting in the offensive zone. Out to the point there, a quick shot taken by Willis. And that's hung on to by Rob Zepp, and he has a face-off. It'll be to his left. 16:25 to go here in the second. This game is tied at 1.
Well, Whalers takes the point shot from the right point. Nobody in front of netminder Rob Zepp to run interference or to act as a screen, and Zepp makes a nice save. We see Scott Holzinger on the bench. That is Scott Holzinger. He goes by his middle name. 6-0 in the month of October. That's why he was the OHL's goaltender of the month. Last evening, he was the winner in a 5-4 victory for the Whalers over the Owen Sound Platers.
The Whalers, Sean Fisher defensively takes a look right through center ice, trying to find Chris Purdy. He couldn't find the handle. Loose now at center ice area. Now here comes Surma. Damian Surma breaks in. Good burst of speed. Sweeps it around the far corner. Comes out to the line with it. Turns, fires it back in. Loose play in behind the net for Venarski. He tries to work it out. Trying to get a shot away, but the Sarnia Sting control offensively into the Plymouth Whalers zone. Pulling up in the far corner, taking a look as Malcolm. Malcolm checked off the play, so he dumps it behind the net, but that pass intercepted and brought up ice by Robichaud. Robichaud, long clearing pass into the Sting zone. Going after it, Purdy once again. Heavy hit in the near corner. Comes out to the line, and all the way down the ice it goes into the Plymouth Whaler end once again. Chelios of the Whalers winds it up. Both teams complete player changes. Harold Druken. Kalajakamo trailing him into the corner. Kalajakamo. Druken goes loose behind the net. Taken over this time by Willers again defensively. For the Sting at his own blue line. Tried to find Novoseltsev. Plymouth won't have any of that. As Gouldy takes the pass off the stick of Druken and just fires it right back in. Kalajakamo fanned on a clearing pass behind the net, so the Sting bring it out. Again, play at neutral ice. Sarnia in control in their own zone. 15 minutes to go here in the second period. Passing at center up on the left wing. Birdie just threw it into the Plymouth Whaler end where Chelios chases it down, and he's got Ivan Novoseltsev all over him. Back to the point, keeping it in. A good job. Van Buskirk threw a shot, goes in wide behind the net. Chris Birdie comes up with it now, tries to dig it loose out of the corner. Pushing and shoving going on. Birdie threw it the other way. Novoseltsev up with a loose puck. Couldn't find a handle on it, however, and out comes Kalajakamo. Kalajakamo, Harold Druken gets by him, goes into the netminder. Just steered that to the side. A quick shot went behind the net. Fisher keeps it in as a point. He just threw it right out front, took a funny bounce, goes in behind the net. Kalajakamo tries to stick handle his way out of the corner with it, bounces high in the slot. Fisher pulls up on the far boards and just throws it right back into the corner again for Gouldy. Gouldy couldn't handle this, so the Sarnia Sting bring it up on the left side. Play loose now at center for Newman. Newman has it, hard off the boards in front of the Whaler bench. Into the defensive zone for the Sarnia players. Quick shot, save made. Hewitt got a piece of that one right off the stick of Randy Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, Johnny on a spot there. This time the offensive pressure put on by the Whalers. Sean Fisher throws a shot high over the top of the net. Comes to the near side. The crowd is buzzing now in this offensive threat by the Whalers. Loose behind the net, coming up with it, Lalonde. Lalonde tried to get a pass out, but that's knocked down, taken over by Fitzgerald. He's finally checked off the play, and the Whalers can't keep it in. This time it's lifted high and down the ice. No icing call here. Play continues deep into the Whalers zone. This time the Sting go after it, but Lalonde gets there first. Brings it up to the blue line. Heavy hit there in Konakia. Cleared loose at center ice for Harima. He just brings it right back to Polynuk, who's met at the blue line there. Good job by Jarrett Newman taking him out of the play. Loose now for Julian Smith. Smith works the near side, leaves it for Lalonde. This line's got to be tired, John. They're looking to get a break.
And a penalty coming up here as Jamie Lalonde takes a punch at Jeff Harima.
That's going to cost the Whalers 2 minutes now as the goaltender has been pulled for the Sarnia Sting. 13 minutes to go here in the first. Halfkenny in with a shot. Wide of the mark. Touched up by the Plymouth Whalers. We'll be back to set the Sting power play for you in just a moment. He gets the gate for John, and you had an interesting observation there.
Well, it was at the end of a very long shift that Jamie Lalonde took the penalty against Jeff Harima. But the offense, the flurry, was once again created by the Whalers' crash line of Julian Smith, Randy Fitzgerald, and Jamie Lalonde.
Quick shot taken from the far point off the stick of Van Buskirk. It gets over everybody, and now the play is loose in the near boards for David Legwine. Legwine looks to clear it up on the left side, and finally does. Trying to find his man at center ice. Bernarski couldn't quite connect with him, so Legwan comes up with it in the Sarnia zone. Sweeps it all the way around behind the net. Finally taken away from him. The Sarnia Sting in a power play for another minute 30 as they set up the breakout of their zone. Andrew Van Buskirk here to the near side. Arima couldn't handle it. Back to Van Buskirk. Right there was him as Bernarski. Bernarski poked it away. They've got him bottled up very well in their defensive zone. Short-handed now. The Whalers doing a great job killing off this penalty. Down to a minute 10. The Sting have yet to leave their zone. Now they may get an opportunity as they bring it up here on the left side. Here comes Sarnia. Sarno here on the near side. Sarno checked off the play, so he throws it into the corner. This time it's Chelios in control for Plymouth. Tries to get it up the line. He did, but it didn't get out of the zone. Back to Chelios. Fanning on that one was Whalers, and a big break there for Plymouth as they're going to clear it down the ice off the stick of Fitzgerald. 45 seconds to go in this power play.
And Eric, the Whalers are going back to that aggressive forecheck. Julian Smith, Randy Fitzgerald out now, but before it was Legwan and Bernarski who bottled the Sting up in the offensive zone.
Here come the Sting on the power play for another 30 seconds, trying to get something going. 2-on-2 if they hurry. That goes all the way down in the Sting end where it's going to be picked up by Kornakia. Right there with him is Julian Smith. Loose off the side, that dangerous pass there right across in front of the netminder. They got away with that one. And here come the Sting one more time, trying to get something going in this power play in the Whalers zone. Into the corner it goes for Novoseltsev. He skates it along the boards out to the point, just throws it back into the corner for Ryan Hare. Hare left it for Malcolm. Malcolm bothered by David Legwan, so he flips it over for Novoseltsev again, who works along the boards for Hare. Plymouth back to full strength. That shot deflected wide. Jamie Lalonde skates back on the ice out of the penalty box and works it up to the blue line. Great job for Legwan. Pass was just behind him, so Lalonde has to come back and cover. It goes into the zone, and it's whistled down on the offside, I believe. That'll bring the face-off just off the center ice circle.
And the Whalers, an excellent job on the penalty kill.
Boy.
and the reason why, Eric, is that they keep skating. The Plymouth Whalers have the ability to outskate their opponents. So when they go in the offensive zone, they force the defenseman. Kornacki actually turned the puck over a couple of times in his own zone on that power play for the Sarnia Sting. The Whalers, if they did allow the Sting to get that first pass, they forced them to go back into their own zone. As we see on the out-of-town scoreboard, Peterborough leading Windsor 1-0 after 20 minutes of play.
Play now at center ice. Sarnia one more time, driving into the Whalers zone. Bounces out of the corner. Whalers try to control, a little pushing and shoving going on here now. One of the Sting lost his helmet, but out come the Whalers. Here they come. Bolton works the near side, throws it over for Legwan. Legwan checked into the corner in the far boards, or near boards rather. He keeps the play going. Heavy hitting going on out there quite literally right now. David Legwan, another Sting player comes in. That's Polinek. We got all kinds of a meeting of the minds out there right now. And David Legwan was manhandled pretty good in the corner.
Well, Polinek and Kornakia went after Legwan, and then Tommy Valtonen tried to get involved. He was knocked to the ice, but Kornakia didn't like, or pardon me, Polinek did not like the fact that he was knocked down in the offensive zone by David Legwan moments earlier. As on the far side of the ice, Rick Smith is paired up with, I do believe that's, yes, Julius Halfkenny.
Shall we dance? Let's take a quick break. There are going to be quite a few penalties coming out of this. We'll be back with more action from the Compuware Sports Arena in just a moment. Well, things are getting a little heated on the ice right now. Hopefully it won't melt the ice too much, but I think both of these teams are going to come up with one or two players short here, John, as things got just a bit testy there.
Well, Chris Purdy and Paul Murrah had a good discussion during the commercial break down in the Sarnia Sting zone. David Legwan over at the bench does not look like he's going to get a penalty here. You saw David Legwan getting congratulations from Jamie Lalonde, one of the Whalers' tough guys. But again, I'll bring up something I brought up on several occasions, both on television and on radio. Jamie Lalonde is a tough guy. He can play it tough, he can drop the gloves, but for the most part, the kid likes to play on the ice, not in the penalty box.
Let's go downstairs and see if we can listen in to referees' calls. Now he's got his little piece of paper there that he took his numbers down on, and he's indicating to both of the captains, assistant captains, what the situation is there, John.
Well, something that you're not going to see here in Plymouth is a repeat of the Owen Sound Windsor brawl a few weeks ago that cost Jeff Kugel his major junior hockey career and maybe hockey career anywhere in Canada. As we're going to go back, and there is Julius Halfkenny.
Kornakia, you were right about that.
Kornakia going after leg one, and then he knocks down Valtonen. Right after that, Polinick gets involved going after leg one. Now, Polinick, you notice how easy his helmet came off?
Yes.
He was skating up the ice without his chin strap done up. That is actually a penalty in the OHL. Players must play with their helmets. If they lose their helmet, they must either go straight to the bench or put it back on and do their chin strap up before they can join the rush. Polinick was fortunate that he didn't get a penalty there.
They're posting a ton of them here. Let's take a look at the action here while we're at break, and just follow this here, John. And again, you've got Paul Mara and number 11 there. Very good observation, Chris Birdie.
Well, Chris Birdie kept trying to go after Mara, and Mara just kept yapping away at him. But he wasn't going to get involved in a fisticuff. He was actually trying to draw Birdie into another penalty.
Right.
We're going to skate a 5-a-side here. I believe that it's roughing and misconducts on each side. I can't see from our vantage point who's in the box for the Plymouth Whalers. And maybe Nick Gismondi, who is our floor director up here, caught the statistics from the PA announcer, Chris Butzlaff.
There we got Polinick dropping the gloves at center ice, and Paul Mara this time, and they hit each other, and the gloves went down, and they went right at it, John. There was no question what was going to happen that time, right off the bat.
Well, the Sarnia Sting are certainly not happy with Paul Mara. He's been taking some liberties, but Polinick now getting a couple of jabs in on Mara. Mara not known for his fisticuffs, but he will stand up and try to protect his teammates. That's his job.
Quite a get-together between those two young men, Rob Polinick and Paul Mara. Interesting matchup right there.
Now, both Rob Cicerelli, who's the owner of the Sarnia Sting, as well as the coaching staff of the Sarnia Sting, just jumped up and went livid. I didn't quite see it. I'd like to see a replay of the fight there at the end. Paul Mara may have headbutted Rob Polinick, but I actually thought that Polinick came in and knocked noggins with Paul Mara out there.
That's the way I saw it too.
Okay, so Tommy Valtonen is in the penalty box for the Whalers. Chris Birdie, they both get a roughing and a misconduct call.
That's a wash there.
And this should be 5 each for Polinick and for Paul Mara.
Let's listen.
I had headbutt on Mara. Double minor. Okay. Just kind of like attempted to. He didn't make contact hard. Okay, 5 fighting on Mara. Plus a double minor headbutt. Okay, double minor, 4-minute headbutting. Number 22. 2, yeah. Put 2-minute headbutt and then 2-minute headbutt. For Mara, right here. 5 blue. Or 2 blue, sorry, yeah. And then 22's got 5 for fighting. Okay? 4 goes on the clock, yep.
Up on the clock for the Whalers here. Now the question is whether or not 2 also goes up for the Sarnia Sting for headbutting. Paul Mara getting a 4-minute double minor for headbutting. That used to be an automatic ejection in the Ontario Hockey League, but it looks like the Whalers are going to play shorthanded for the next 4 minutes.
Good look at the penalty box area there for the Sarnia Sting, as a couple of guys going to get an extended rest here. All these coming at the 11:52 mark.
And Peter Cerno right now arguing with referee Daryl Dawson, saying that Paul Mara should be ejected for headbutting. As you see, Tommy Valtonen and Paul Mara in the penalty box right now. 9:52 mark, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. 10:08 to go here in the second. Score tied at 1 on first period goals by the Sarnia Sting. Novoseltsev and number 11, David Legwan. Let's see if we can see it here, John. And there it is.
Yep.
It is certainly a headbutt, and Paul Mara is fortunate to still be in the hockey game.
Boy.
Excellent camera work by the media run crew here tonight.
Picking up all the subtleties of the game of hockey.
And it makes us look like geniuses in the booth.
Well, after all this is said and done, we're going to have a face-off just off the center ice circle. It'll be Kava for the Sarnia Sting and Vernarski for the Plymouth Whalers. And this is a 4-minute power play here for Sarnia. Is that what it looks like, John?
That's correct.
So will be looking to take advantage of this, and let's see if the Plymouth Whalers can bottle them up shorthanded as they did the last power play opportunity that the Sting had. Sarnia tried to force a pass through. That's knocked down. And the Whalers just flip it back out to center ice. Van Buskirk comes up with it inside his own zone. Ryan Van Buskirk works the near side, just throws it hard and deep into the Whaler end. Goes all the way around the boards the far side for Harima. He couldn't control, so comes out to the point man. Greg Willers, he got a shot away that's deflected into the corner. Cava has it now, try to get it out front. Up to the line, and out it comes. Fitzgerald not quite fortunate enough to poke that one ahead. He was looking to get a break. It didn't work out that way, but it did go in over the line offside, so that'll bring it outside the zone for a faceoff.
Whalers with a good job in the defensive zone to force the Sarnia Sting to the perimeter. However, Eric, the Whalers need to be the first man on the puck, especially in the corner. They cannot allow the Sarnia Sting, especially with a guy like Peter Cerno out on the ice or an Ivan Novoseltsev right now, to set up shop down low or cycle it high to the point. That allows the Sting to drive to the front of the goal. You have to prevent that, keep them to the perimeter, or better yet, get to the puck first and ice the disc.
Legwand on Hare. Controlled by the Sting this time off the face-off. And Novoseltsev works the near side, throws it in. Goes hard off the boards, far point. Watson tries to keep it in play. He does. He just bangs it back into the corner for Hare once again. Hare checked off the play nicely by Fisher. Julian Smith comes in to help out, but Hare has it again. Novoseltsev poked away from him. Fisher tries to clear it out of the zone. Coming in to help out is Legwand. Not quite. Novoseltsev still bothering. Now Fisher has it, and he just throws it the length of the ice. That's going to be right on the netminder, Hewitt. He's going to have to steer that aside and brings it right back through center. Here comes Novoseltsev. He picked up a nice pass, gets inside the defense, but is taken out of the play into the far corner, so he's got to set it up on the far boards again. Jamieson tees up a shot, going down to block that was Surma. Great job there. And Legwand finds the hole once again and lifts it to center ice. Fresh penalty killers coming on the ice for the Whalers as the Sarnia Sting look to set it up one more time. Up the ice they come. Hit here on the near side. Chelios couldn't find the handle on it. This time the centering pass goes in behind the net for Peter Cava. Cava this time works it down low. Back up to the far point. Looking for a deflection wide and behind the net. Coming in near side, Jamieson can't handle it. Back to Jamieson once again. Jamieson works it into the corner. Peter Sarno. Sarno worked all the way out to the blue line by Newman, so he just flipped it back in behind the net. This time it's Harima. Throws it near side. Back to Harima behind the net. He can't find the handle. Now Albers. Right out front. Cava scores!
Well, the puck was laying in the crease for Albers. That went down in the butterfly. I think he may have thought that the first shot went through his wickets, and then the shot by Peter Cava goes upstairs. Fortunately for the Whalers, they killed off the first penalty, so they will be now back at full strength.
Yeah, that's a tough one, too. He was left all alone. And when you're killing a penalty in a situation like that, it's difficult to get everybody covered, obviously, when you're shorthanded. And, boy, he took advantage of that. Left all alone right out front. He just stuffs it.
But the scrambling all started because three men were down too low. Jared Newman in the corner, as well as his defensive partner, goes upstairs. Harold Druken, the only blue shirt anywhere near the goal scorer, which I thought was Peter Cava, actually.
John, that was a great reach by Cava. As he was going the opposite way, trying to take the goalie with him, he reached back with a stick. He had excellent reach on there, stuffed it upstairs.
That's right, but again, a defensive zone breakdown by the Whalers as both defensemen were in on the right wing side of the ice. Nobody standing in front picking up Peter Cava. So Cava from Sarno and Harima, that's a power play marker, giving the Sting the lead.
And as you pointed out, they did kill off the first 2 minutes of that 4-minute minor rather, so that takes the rest of the time off the clock. Fisher with a drive. The Sting blocked that one into the corner. There's a heavy hit this time by the Whalers, and the Sting try to wind it up ice. Ryan Van Buskirk knocked down at the blue line. It's whistled offside, and a very close call, according to all the fans that are sitting down there anyway.
Including Peter DeBoer, the head coach of the Plymouth Whalers, not happy with that call. From our perspective, it looked like it may have been sitting on the blue line, but the whistle still goes as Nick Chelios could not keep it onside, according to the linesman that actually get paid to be on the ice. That's the only one that's the only opinion that really counts out on the ice.
7:27 to go here in the second. The Sarnia Sting have just taken the lead on a power play goal by number 14, Peter Cava. Where we stand, we got a little pushing and shoving and stick action going up to the top of the face-off there on the far boards. Going in over the line that time for the Whalers was Rick Smith, but he didn't get the call. Now the Sting seem to be picking up the tempo a little bit. Cava comes in, throws it in behind the net. The Whalers come back defensively and try to work it out of the zone. Baltonen has it. And there's going to be a penalty coming up. And it's going to go against the Sarnia Sting as Baltonen finally loses control over here to Newman. The Whalers have pulled their netminder for the extra attacker. 6-on-5, Legwan. Druken with a drive that goes off the glass high and behind the net. Comes here to the near side, touch step by the Sarnia Sting, and we get a power play coming up now for the Whalers.
Well, a two-handed chop as Tommy Baltonen tried to carry the puck over the blue line on the left wing side, and now a skirmish down in the right wing corner.
Well, you got to believe the Sarnia Sting are trying to take somebody with them.
Well, definitely.
See if they can even this up a little bit, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, if anything, the person that was going to get the extra penalty was going to be Tommy Baltonen as he hauled down his man Jeff Harima, who actually slashed him in along the boards, as we see Rob Zepp. Zepp has given up 2 goals on 9 shots so far this evening. He hasn't been tested overly much, and unfortunately, twice. The first one, a quasi breakaway for Novoseltsev, and the second one, Peter Cava all alone in front of the net, and they put it upstairs on Zepp.
Let's see how the Whalers respond in a power play now, with the Sting having just taken the lead in a power play of their own. Trying to control the puck at the far point is Fisher. Keeps it in play. Near side, Legwan. Throws it. That hits a stick, goes over the top of the net. Far boards. Sarnia Sting going to clear it up ice. They do. Scrambling play at center, taken over by Novoseltsev. He wheels back in his own end. He's killing off some time here nicely, and he finally just throws it down the ice. Zepp leaves it for Fisher. Fisher bothered by Jamieson, so he flings it off the boards and near side, comes up with it. Fisher now good speed on the right wing and throws it into the Sarnia zone. Hewitt lets it go all the way over to the far boards where Druken picks it up, tries to work it out to the point. That one knocked down. Fisher has to pick up the loose puck at center ice, now for Druken. Harold Druken in over the line for Kalajakamo with a big shot. That's off a stick and up into the far corner. Looked like it was headed for the big W on the Budweiser side.
Well, it certainly was. It was redirected in front of the goal. The puck careens up, and a nice catch made on the bench seats in section 106 behind netminder Greg Hewitt. So the faceoff will be to the left of Hewitt, but at the top of the faceoff circle.
A moment or so ago, Giacomo and Cava. Wingers skating in there a little close to this faceoff. They got away with it. Puck comes into the corner, and looking for the hole, and down the ice it goes off the stick of Van Buskirk. Zepp is going to leave it for Legwan, who looks to set up this power play rush for the Whalers. Druken gets by everybody. We'll have an icing call there. If it's touched up, we'll see how it goes. And it is touched up by the Sarnia Sting. Definitely not something you want to see happen when you're on the power play.
No, but we have seen it quite a bit recently, not with the Whalers, actually with their opposition. The last 2 games against the Owen Sound Platers and the Kitchener Rangers, 5 or 6 times in the 2 games there have been icings on the power play.
Gary DeRick is downstairs with another arena report. Gary?
Eric, I have Bob Lovelace.
Ambulance dedicated to the game, and in the event that there was an emergency, then we would start treatment and then call in another car to transport.
What's the worst incident you've ever had to deal with?
Probably a player injury. We had a player last year that toward the end of the season that got hit in the face with a stick, and that was pretty serious.
Bob, thanks for joining us. Eric, back up to you.
Kalajakamo skates right in with a shot. So we're back to the action on this power play for another 25 seconds for the Whalers. They try to dig it loose off the boards. The Sting very effective this time, killing this one off. As they look for control here on the near boards, they get it and drive it down the ice. 5:05 to go here in the second. 10 seconds remain now on the Whaler power play. Nick Chelios, Kalajakamo. Kalajakamo over for his teammate, breaking in on the left side. Venarski, and back into the Whaler end it goes. Zepp for Chelios once again. Chelios leaves it in the corner. Venarski tries to get there before Jamieson, and does, so the puck comes loose in behind the net. Now there's some forechecking pressure by the Sarnia Sting, taking it in deep. Looking for the loose puck now behind the net. Venarski tries to work it up the boards and does. Out come the Whalers now 1-on-3. Now it's a 2-on-3 as it goes deep into the corner. Dan Watson has it defensively for the Sting, gets it up to the point but not out. Newman tried to keep it in play, just barely did. A good job there by Newman. Big mugging here on the near boards, and nothing comes of that. And play continues in the Sarnia zone. far corner for Whalers. Try to get it past the point man for the Whalers, unable to do so. The Whalers throw it in behind the net once again. This time Hewitt steers it here to the near side. Picking it up, Surma. Checked off the play. The Sarnia Sting work it up on the near boards. Try to get it out of the zone. They can't. Picking it up. Turning, firing a quick shot right into the slot. Good defensive help there by the netminders. Teammates out in front of Hewitt. And down come the Whalers one more time. They're going to have to pick it up in their own zone. Both these teams a little tired here as they complete line changes. And the Whalers are at center ice. Lalonde tips it into the Sarnia end. Hewitt leaves it there, but he can't get it out of the zone. Coming in from the point, a quick shot. Big save made. The rebound loose in the slot and cleared by the defense. Great job by the defense for the Sarnia Sting as they bring it up ice once again. Into the Plymouth Whalers zone with a quick shot. Stick to side at the last moment. A big save there by Rob Zepp. Puck loose in the corner. Malcolm has it now for Sarnia. He tried to get it in behind the net. Looking for it was Proskornicki. He couldn't find the handle, so the Whalers clear it out. Whalers at center ice. Tip it into the Sarnia end. The Hewitt leaves it behind his net. And the Sting look to clear it up on the right side. Good forechecking here. Randy Fitzgerald comes in for the Whalers. Checks his man, Konakia. Good heavy hit in the far boards. Now play continues in the corner. Fitzgerald comes in to help out. Sting unable to clear. Chelios with a drive. The save made. Score! Oh, a big shot by Chelios.
And now a fight with Lalonde.
Oh, we got a big one.
Kevin Malcolm. They had one heck of a battle, Eric, in the left wing corner. That allows the puck to come back to Chelios. He takes the shot. Hewitt got a piece of it, but it bounces into the cage. I want to go even further back. Julian Smith and Andrew Proskornicki in the Whalers zone. Julian Smith takes out Proskornicki on a pass that was intended for Proskornicki. That allowed Randy Fitzgerald to start it out the ice, up the left wing side, and eventually it ends up in the Whalers scoring a goal. The shot was taken from the point. You see Hewitt spinning around looking for the puck. It caught him up high. Hewitt, a small goaltender, spins around trying to find it, and it's in the back of the cage. Then a fight ensues between Kevin Malcolm and Jamie Lalonde. And I hope that we can maybe go back a little bit further on one of our replays to show the battle that was going on down in the left wing corner.
They have not put the goal up on the scoreboard yet, and I'm wondering why.
Well, actually, it's probably that...
that's got to be a goal.
That's right, that the official scorers are taking down the penalties right now, waiting to find out what happens.
Yeah, Konakia really got tangled up down here in this corner as well. And Fitzgerald was with him, I think it was. And Fitzgerald with a good heavy check into Konakia into the corner to break that puck loose. And as you said, way behind the play at the opposite end of the rink is where it all started. And the Whalers finally converting on a good shot by Chelios from the far point.
And the faceoff is at center ice here, Eric, as Darren Barahowski is standing there. So the Whalers are going to get the goal as it's now up on the scoreboard. But hopefully a little bit later on we'll be able to see a little bit earlier on as Jamie Lalonde had that big battle down in the left wing corner. That opens up a lane for Nick Chelios to drop in from the left point to take the shot. And of course, as we always joke, Nick Chelios does not look like his cousin. On at 17-17 in the big battle down in the corner. Sets it up, Eric.
And the Whalers come out of a power play on this.
And this
we'll take it.
This could be a turning point in the hockey game if the Whalers can get another one.
See what they do with it here now. The Sting killing this one off the faceoff. Down to 2:39 to go here in the second period. If the Whalers can convert this, 2 quick goals in the end of the period to give a little bit of momentum going into the third. Legwan works the near side. Very patient as he works along the boards. The Sting have set up the box, trying to make it very effective. Not being too aggressive right now. Back to Legwan. Works the near side again. Legwan comes up with it off the boards, throws it down low. Quick shot, the save made by Hewitt. Off the stick of Harold Druken, who was right on the doorstep. Back down to Chelios. Keeps it in play. Good control. Colagiacomo works the far boards. Adam takes a look now in the circle. Try to get a centering pass. The slide of backhander by Druken. And another big save by Hewitt. Mirror with a drive. Kicked aside by Hewitt once again. Into the far corner it goes, now working it along the boards. The Whalers trying to come up with a Colagiacomo. Couldn't find the handle on it, and the Sarnia Sting bring it down the ice.
The game of hockey is an emotional one, and we're seeing the momentum swing in favor of the Whalers right now.
Here's Colagiacomo, pulls up just inside the line, leaves it back for Mara. Mara threw it into the far corner for Harold Druken. He takes it off the boards, back for Fisher, over for Mara. Tries to sidestep a check, back over for Fisher, looking to get a shot away. Throws it at the net, comes in behind it. Here now to Legwan. Legwan works the near corner. In for Harold Druken. Back to Legwan. David takes a look now very close. Harold Druken tried to get a shot. Knocked down loose in front. And finally covered up by the netminder Hewitt. He's being tested very heavily right now.
Adam Colagiacomo standing right on the doorstep. He's banging away at the disc as it's laying loose in the crease, and then he is knocked over. Now Novoseltsev and Legwan having a little bit of a cha-cha in front of the goal.
Great offensive pressure here on this power play opportunity for the Whalers as we're down a minute 18 to go here in the second period and 36 seconds to go in the power play.
Well, Eric, you made a good
right there for the Plymouth Whalers, getting the opportunities in close. But Hewitt standing tall right now at all 5'5" of him. Here comes Paul Mara. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Mara, that was deflected over the top of the net. Legwan digs it out of the corner. Back to Paul Mara once again. Legwan tries to keep it in at the point, can't quite do it, so he has to pick it up at center ice and bring it right back in. Gives it over to Valtonen. Valtonen sweeps it in behind the net. Hewitt bangs it off the boards. Legwan kept it in again. Good job by David Legwan. Valtonen down low. Take a look now behind the net. This is Rick Smith. Out for Mara. Tried to get the pass over to Fisher. Over in the far side there, 2-on-2. Sarno looking to pick up the pass, and it goes right to Zepp as Sarno stepped out of the penalty box. Tried to get a 2-on-1 and over the line as they tried to convert, just coming off that shorthanded situation.
Well, the Whalers cycling the puck up high. They were looking to get it back to Paul Mara. You could see Valtonen behind the goal, and Rick Smith also trying to get it back to Paul Mara. He has got one of the hardest shots in the OHL. It eventually comes back to him at the end of the power play, but he is being forechecked very effectively by the Sarnia Sting. Pass over to Sean Fisher is almost intercepted by the newcomer Dusty Jameson, formerly of the Guelph Storm, and Peter Sarno picks it up and takes the shot on Rob Zepp.
Sarno on this faceoff against Julian Smith. Controlled by the Sting, they keep it in play, thrown right on Zepp, and he has no trouble keeping an eye on that one all the way in. And again makes a stop for another faceoff to his left. 31 seconds to go here in the second period. We're all tied at 2 after the Sting took a 2-1 lead. The Whalers came right back and tied the game up. Whalers out shooting the Sting right now 22-13. At one point it was 12-4 at the end of that first period, and Sting closed it up a little bit before the Whalers have put a few more shots on the board. There's a race for it now. Fitzgerald trying to get there first to avoid the icing. Didn't quite make it as Ryan Van Buskirk got the stick on it just before Fitzgerald got there, and that'll bring a face-off the opposite end of the rink.
Ryan Van Buskirk, the native of St. Clair, Michigan. He was a 4th-round pick of the Phoenix Coyotes in last year's NHL draft. He played for Petrolia just outside of Sarnia 2 years ago in Junior B. Last year, his first year in the O. 61 games, 8 goals, 17 assists, 25 points, 84 penalty minutes. But he was one of those key contributors for the Sarnia Sting as a rookie last year. In fact, he was very solid for the Sting on the blue line during that 5-game OHL preliminary round series between the Whalers and the Sting last season.
Quick reminder, stay tuned. Our second intermission coming up for you. I'll throw it down to Gary Durek. He'll have a quick chat with assistant coach for the Plymouth Whalers. We've got a couple of OHL experts to give you some news and notes from around the OHL. All that and more. Trivia question answered. Stay tuned for that. Coming right up, the conclusion of the period. Fitzgerald in over the line. Fitzgerald taking another play. Quick shot, taken in behind the net. Oh my, Colagiacomo had to go right off his stick. There's a shot, taken from the point, looking for a deflection out front. They're not going to get it at the buzzer, signifying the end of a wild and woolly final 2 minutes of the second period, John.
Well, the Whalers had the control in the final few moments of the period. In fact, the big
excitement here in the third. About ready to get underway. Brahowski drops the puck. The Whalers control this one. Third period. Sarnia Sting, Van Buskirk tries to clear it up on the right side. He does. Harima left it there. Harima comes up with it on the right side. He's checked off the play, so the puck goes in behind the net. And going into the far corner is Cava to come up with it. Cava gave the Sting a 2-1 lead in that second period on the power play before the Whalers came back and tied the score on the goal by Nick Chelios. Play loose now here in the Sting zone. Trying to get a pass here, gets by everybody. The Whalers will touch this one up. And we get an icing call within the first minute. John Bauer once again with me in the booth. John?
Well, the Whalers here, Eric, are going to want to do 2 things again. Cycle like they did in the second half of that middle stanza. The other thing, they want to go back to that aggressive forecheck. Look at what it did. Combine the cycling and the aggressive forecheck, the Whalers scored a couple of goals, and the best grinding line of the night out on the ice right now, Fitzgerald, Julian Smith, and Jamie Lalonde.
Face-off will be to the left, right rather, of the netminder Greg Hewitt. Comes to Chelios. Chelios skates it into the corner, comes out with it, throws it behind the net. Julian Smith overskates it, so it's left there for the defense by the Sting. Lead pass at center, here they come. This is Casey Wallach over the line, and a break, a shot, a save made, the rebound! Another shot, save made once again. Great job by Zepp. He kept the pads down low, and neither one of those shots got by him. Good opportunity by Casey Wallach. Unable to cash in on that. It's loose in front of the Sting net. Now it's finally cleared out by the defense. Wallach has it once again. He finds another man breaking through center ice. Trying to bust in over the line is Ryan Hare. He's checked off the play by Chelios, who comes up with a loose puck in the far boards. Whalers try to clear it out. They can't. Coming in to help out now. On the far boards as Lalonde comes loose behind the Whaler net. Here comes Chelios. Up now on the near side, Julian Smith. Just worked it into the Sting zone. Hewitt's going to leave it behind the net for Willers. Willers picks it up, and the Whalers complete a line change. Comes up to the right side. Mara's there with it. Gets by him, goes all the way down to the Plymouth defensive end, where the Whalers pick it up now. This is Jared Newman. Newman works the boards near side, but didn't get it out as it's kept in at the point. Now they finally clear it all the way down into the Sarnia end. There's a race for it. Druken goes after it. He can't get there in time. Pushing and shoving in the corner now. Druken gets tangled up once again with Kornakia. Up to the line. Here come the Sarnia Sting once again. Ivan Novosaltsev. Little misunderstanding there, and here come the Whalers in over the line. This is Paul Mara on a break. Mara's in, shoots, and a big save made by Hewitt. Oh my, Hewitt really sharp on that one. Back the other way come the Sting. They're 3-on-2. Sarno looks for the pass. Going in too deep, unable to connect with that one was Cava. He was looking for a second goal of the night. Comes right out front, a quick shot, and another save made by Zepp. And the Whalers have had enough of that as they clear it down the ice. They'll get an icing call here, one that they'll gladly take a little pressure off and give themselves some breathing room.
Well, the Whalers box collapsed in on top of Rob Zepp.
Wow.
As he, as we take a look, Zepp coming out, goes down, kicks out the right pad, and it actually looked like it rolled off the stick, and then the rebound picked up by Ryan Hare, and again catches right off of his left pad. And here's Paul Mara's breakaway at the other end of the rink. He didn't get all of the shot. He had Hewitt backing in deep into his crease, but the puck was rolling. He couldn't get the handle on it and roof it over top of netminder Greg Hewitt.
How you like that for end-to-end action, folks? Both teams coming very close. Whalers now try to control it in their own end. Bring it up to the line. The Sting doing the damage here on the near boards. However, they keep it in play and tip it back into the corner. Now comes up to the point. Whalers again having a little trouble clearing. Down low. Sarnia working back over to the corner again. Look to cycle one more time. And out they come. Here comes Legwan on the right side for Valtonen. Valtonen checked off the play, ridden into the corner by Breckelmans. Left there for Malcolm. Here to the near side, Chelios sweeps it in behind the net. Smith goes after it. This is Rick Smith now, number 16. Couldn't find the handle. And it's loose just inside the Sarnia Sting blue line. Now play is really loose at center ice. Nobody can come up with it. And the Whalers finally gathered up in their own zone. Fisher back over to Chelios. Chelios, Vernarski at center. Vernarski, good speed as he works it over the line. Looks to get a shot away. Poked away from him at the last moment, and the Sting break it out. Back now to Mara. Over for Newman. Newman tried to get the pass at center. That's broken up by the Sting. Nicely done there as they tip it into the Whaler zone. Going in deep is Proskornicki. Tip loose behind the net. Now comes out front into the slot where it's taken over by the Whalers. They clear the zone up with a loose puck. Damian Surma. Surma skates it in over the line with a shot, and that goes wide. It's deflected loose in front. Took a funny bounce. Came right out into the crease. Cleared by the Sarnia Sting defense. Newman once again has control, knocking it down, and over the line Vernarski. It's whistled down offside. Let's go downstairs to Gary Durak for another arena report. Gary?
Eric, I have Bob Respecty of the Plymouth Figure Skating Club. Bob, tell us a little bit about what you do with the skating club.
Well, we're in our 26 years in existence. We're a full-line figure skating club, freestyle skating, precision skating, and basic skills beginning lessons here at Compuware Sports Arena.
you have a special event coming up on Sunday, November 15th. Tell us a little bit about that.
On November 15th at 3:30 pregame and at 4 o'clock game time, the Red Wing alumni will play Nick's Dream Team to benefit our precision teams, Capuchin Soup Kitchen, Konstantinov Fund, and the Carmonas Cancer Fund. $5 is the admission, and hope everybody can attend.
Bob, thanks for joining us. Eric, back up to you.
Back to the action at center ice. This is Randy Fitzgerald. Defensively now, Fisher sweeps it up on the right side. Fitzgerald couldn't come up with it. David Kornakia has it here now to the near side. Back now. Novoseltsev has it come loose, right back to him. Ivan just tipped it up to the blue line. With that whistle, we'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. Off center ice. We'll have a face-off here with Harold Druken against Peter Sarno. Two of the top scorers in the league. Sarno wins that one. And the Sting bring it back into the Plymouth Whaler end. Fisher has to come back and cover. Chelios there to help him out. Fisher sweeps it up the boards near side. Back out now for the Sting. They wheel back into their own end. It's bouncing loose at center where it's finally picked up by Gouldy, but it bounces away from him. And the Sting bring it in over the line. This is Rob Polinick. Polinick takes it into the corner. He's checked off the play by Druken. We'll have none of that. And Novoseltsev comes in and picks up the loose puck. He's checked into the slot, trying to get a shot away. That's knocked down. Eric Gouldy, good job to get in the way of that one. Druken comes up with it. Comes back outside the line. Chelios. Back over for Mara. Paul Mara this time. He's going to take it in himself. Pulls up the line, drop pass. Colin Giacomo, a big shot. The rebound comes loose out of Mara. Bounces loose behind the net, and finally picked up by Sarnia. Here comes Peter Kava. Kava just tipped it back up through center ice, but it's driven right back into the Sarnia zone. Hewitt leaves it behind the net for Kornakia. Stick handling his way out of the corner with it. Up for Kava. Kava picks it up at center. Paul Mara takes it away from him. Over for Newman. Newman lifts a shot right on the netminder Hewitt, and he just takes a look at that with Baltonen skating in and decides to hang on to that one, gets a face-off to his left.
Well, kind of a slow developing period here. We're just a second shy of 6 minutes into the final frame here at the Compuware Sports Arena, but I expect that if either team gets a little bit of momentum here, it could decide the hockey game, Eric. We saw it last night where the Whalers just kept coming back at the Owen Sound Platers. They kept forcing the play in the offensive zone, creating scoring opportunities, and Harold Druken throws a pick high up in the offensive zone. That opens up Paul Mara for the game winner last night.
Bernarski throws that draw in behind the net, but it's taken over by Jamieson. Defensively for the Sting. Works it up the boards. Jamieson went down off Damian Surma. He gets back up okay. Great job by Paul Mara finishing his check into the far boards. Scrambling play in the corner. Jeff Arima gets tangled up with one of the defensemen there for Plymouth, who finally come out with the puck. The Whalers up to Damian Surma. Surma skates it right through center. He gets a quick shot away, and that goes up into the high-end blues. And again, testing the goaltending abilities of some of the Whaler faithful in attendance here tonight.
And just a reminder that next Friday night, next Saturday evening, pardon me, the Whalers are back home. It is canned food drive week for the Whalers. If you bring in 3 non-perishable food items to the Compuware Sports Arena next week, you can get $1 off an end zone seat for next Saturday's game against the Kitchener Rangers.
This is the billet section for the players here, John. You might want to comment on that a little bit.
Well, all of the land parents were here this evening in attendance, the parents of the hockey players as well. Kind of a meet and greet before the hockey game.
And they had a dinner. They shared a buffet dinner before everything got going here tonight with the game. And, of course, the young men in action on the ice. Right out to the side of the net of Hewitt. The Whalers trying to make something happen. That's that hard-working line you talked about, Fitzgerald, Smith, and Lalonde. Here come the Sting, right up through center. Hare. He took a dive at the blue line, didn't get any call on that. Continues to force the play in deep. Heavy hitting behind the Plymouth Whaler net. The Whalers come away the better of that. Passing at center ice, intercepted by Watson, and we've got a stoppage of play here, a call by the referee Dawson, and we may have a penalty here.
A boarding penalty coming up to Andrew Proskornicki as he took a run at, I do believe that it was Jamie Lalonde up the right wing side, and Proskor not happy with himself And this is what I'm expecting, Eric. It's going to get more physical in the third period, and tomorrow night in the second game of this home-and-home set, it is going to become very physical. And of course, as the play will come up the right wing side, Chelios, he is nailed by Proskornicki once, but wait until the play actually, that's not the penalty. The penalty is actually up at the blue line, right in front of the Whalers bench where Proskornicki took a run, and I do believe that was Lalonde on the right wing side. But Eric, like I was saying, the second game of this home-and-home set tomorrow night, the game is available in real audio on at the Plymouth Whalers website at www.plymouthwhalers.com or locally on AM 1480.
The Whalers in a power play here now with about 12 minutes to go here in this third period. Let's see if they can get the go-ahead marker here. Here comes Paul Mara. Giacomo there with him. Mara takes it in deep, goes in behind the net, pulls up. Sarnia Sting trying to get a handle on it and clear the zone, unable to do so. Now they finally do and rip it down the ice. And Rob Zepp leaves it for Harold Druken. Minute 30 to go, Whaler power play. Druken for Legwan. Legwan at the blue line. Druken there with him. Legwan, Druken, centering pass right out front. Just missed. Giacomo again, camped out all by himself. They had him outnumbered around the net, couldn't find a handle on it. Harold Druken. Legwan. Mara. Legwan once again, top of the circle. Try to get a shot through. Knocked off a leg. Back down to Mara. Scores! Paul Mara drives a blistering shot from the far point. It's a power play goal for the Whalers and a 3-2 lead.
Well, that's the play that I was talking about earlier this evening. The Whalers like to cycle high on the power play. Get Paul Mara with the big booming shot, or Nick Chelios.
Wow.
Gets the shot away, but it's Paul Mara this time. Leg one, right wing half force, goes cross ice to Chelios. He sends it across to the right point for Paul Mara. He is already winding up for the shot as he connects. He completely beats the netminder, Greg Hewitt. Paul Mara, that is his fourth power play goal of the season, as you see the pass going across to Paul Mara, and the blast just completely eludes the netminder Hewitt. He didn't see it. There were 3 or 4 players cutting across the grain in front of netminder Greg Hewitt.
All net, all the way. Here comes Willers for Sarnia. It's taken away from him. The Whalers taking a 3-2 lead. Power play goal. Here comes Watson defensively for Sarnia. He tries to control near side, heavy hitting in the boards. And out with it now. Comes Harima, near side. Watson skates it up to the line, just throws it into the Whaler zone. Picked off by Newman. Sweeps it off the boards far side. Valtonen can't get there. Sidestepping a check in the corner is Chris Bernarski. Bernarski ties it up, goes out to Valtonen. Quick shot, save made. The rebound! Steered just wide. Oh my. Cava looking for his second goal of the night. Just steered it wide of an open part of the net. Here come the Whalers. Unable to control in their own zone, can't get it out. This time behind the net, it's Newman one more time. Brings it back, up to the near side. The Whalers are going to get it out now. Here comes Rick Smith. Smith works the near boards and just lifts it high into the opposite corner for Watson now. And the Sting defense. Here to Willers. Willers throws it up on the left side. There's nobody home. It's going to go all the way down and barely over the line. No icing. Oh my, the rule no icing there, so play continues for Paul Mara, who just scored the third goal here for the Whalers to put them on top 3-2. Up to the line. Lalonde tries to bat it ahead. Back for Julian Smith. He can't find it. And the Sarnia Sting bring it up on the far boards. They finally work it up to the Plymouth Whaler blue line, but it's taken over by Mara once again to Chelios. Chelios. Halfkenny had it for Sarnia for there just a moment. Now the Whalers try to gather it up in front of the Sarnia bench. Back now for Halfkenny, deep in his own zone. He's bothered there by Julian Smith, so he drops it behind the net for Kanakia. Kanakia skates it out, lifts it up on the left side. Racing forward is Fisher. He's going to get there first. Has Chelios there with him to help him out. Fisher throws it up to Giacomo, working the right wing. Giacomo back for Julian Smith. Julian Smith, 1-on-2, gets in over the line, bursts inside the defense. A shot, the save made by Hewitt. Coming up the loose puck, Fitzgerald this time. He wheels it into the corner. Down Giacomo, give and go for Fitzgerald, turns around, tries to get a backhander. Taken out of the play by the defense. The Sarnia Sting got their goaltender all tangled up. They finally separate, it comes down the Whaler end. Good opportunities there for the Whalers. Here comes Plymouth. Gouldy works the near boards up to Giacomo. Giacomo Harold Druken taken out of the play. The puck gets by him, goes into the corner. Giacomo couldn't find a handle. Now it's off the stick of Van Buskirk. Up here to Malcolm. He couldn't catch up with it. Cleared off the boards right side. Giacomo once again picks up Harold Druken down the slot. Harold Druken leans in with a shot. He's taken down. And there's a whistle as the net is knocked off its moorings. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment.
BD1 Sports is knocked down by the defenseman, the rookie Corey Breckelmans. The referee, Daryl Dawson, ruled that Druken ran into the netminder himself.
Faceoff controlled by the Whalers. Bring it in the line. Rick Smith had his pocket picked by Willer, so it comes back all the way into the Whalers' end. Defensively, Fisher has it. Lifts it high off the glass. Taken over by Willers, now left for Watson. Defensively, Watson tried to get it out at the blue line. Now it comes over for Birdie. Birdie to Watson. Watson finally loses it. And Casey Wallach has it now. Wallach up to the line. Throws it to the far side for Hare. That pass intercepted. Here come the Whalers, 3-on-2 if they hurry. Legwine. Smith. Smith has it taken away from him. He has to come back at center ice and cover defensively. Now Baltman skates it back into his own end. Up now for Legwine. Legwine once again for Smith. Rick Smith at the blue line, tried to find Legwine, cruising in on the right side. It's whistled down offside, and that'll bring the faceoff back outside the Sting zone. Down to 8:30 to go here in the third. It's a 3-2 hockey game. The Whalers on top.
Rick Smith turns back in the neutral zone. He is checked by the underage forward, Ryan Hare. He is from Sarnia. He's not draftable until next season. Hare was a member of the Sarnia Junior B Steeplejacks last year, 29 points, but he almost got away to the races as he was trying to get control of the puck and drive down the ice. There's the Whalers website, www.plymouthwhalers.com. Tomorrow night you can tune into Pete Krupski and yours truly with the play-by-play call of the second half of this game, of this home-and-home series. And of course, if you got the broadband service by Media One, it's a wonderful way to listen to the game in real audio.
Now the Sarnia Sting are bottled up in their defensive zone. The Whalers trying to gain control of it. It comes loose behind the net for Legwine. Legwine in the corner. He's tied up. Unable to do anything with it, so it comes loose. Going into the opposite corner. Fitzgerald comes in. Letting it go now for Julian Smith. Back to Fitzgerald. They're cycling it in deep. Smith to Lalonde. Lalonde comes back. Now to Julian Smith. Fitzgerald skates by Smith with a shot. Comes loose to Fitzgerald. Goaltender Hewitt got a piece of that. Newman throws it right out front. That's deflected in the slot by Cava, and out he comes. Pass intercepted. Great job by Randy Fitzgerald to break up that breakout opportunity by the Sarnia Sting. Cava tried to lead his teammate in over the line. That was Jamison, broken up nicely. Here come the Whalers one more time. Racing for it. Harold Druken trailing to play. Gouldy left in the far boards. Giacomo takes it into the corner. Halfkenny brings it back to the opposite side. Dusty Jamison all tangled up now. And finally left here to the near boards. Here comes Kornakia again. He couldn't clear the zone. Now it's finally loose at center ice. Marima just sweeps it into the Whaler end. 7:10 to go here in the third. 3-2 your score. The Whalers over the Sting. Here comes Fisher. Sean Fisher just lifts it high into the Sting zone. Hewitt sweeps it around behind his net to the near side. Coming up with it, trying to clear the zone this time. Ivan Novosaltsev. Over for Fisher once again. The Whalers really have the wings in their skates right now. They've taken the play to the Sarnia Sting and hope to continue to do so as this period winds along and hopefully make it pay off. Here's Harold Druken. Over for Paul Mara. Mara just lifts it into the corner. Going down now for it is Gouldy. Kornakia right there with him. Out with it, Giacomo. Back to Mara. One time! Blistered it just wide of the far post. Throwing it in behind the net. Picking up Giacomo near corner. Adam tries to get the pass into the slot to Druken. Druken has it poked away from him, works the near side. Thrown right at the netminder. Hewitt is loose, and Gouldy couldn't get there in time. Here come the Sarnia Sting. They finally clear it out to center ice. Very, very good offensive pressure that time as the Whalers really did the forechecking down low and got 2 or 3 opportunities on the netminder. Novosaltsev at center ice, taken over by Legwine. He's got Bolton in there with him. He just backhands it into the zone. Sting don't know where it is temporarily. Now they finally gathered up and lift it high to center. Going after it, Ryan Hare chases it deep into the corner. Mara right there with him. Look for a centering pass. Legwine will have none of that. Sweeps it off the boards near side. Willers breaks it up at center ice. Back to the Whaler line, and it goes in over the line offside. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. Blue line, 3-2 your score. The Whalers on top. A third period goal by Paul Mara. The difference in the hockey game right now, out of town scoreboard, or rather the shots on goal here so far, 26-17 for the Plymouth Whalers. Carrying the play, especially here in the third period. Getting the shots on the netminder, Hewitt. Going in behind the net, this time it's the Sarnia Sting trying to get some forechecking pressure going in the Whaler zone. And the Whalers are trying to break that opportunity up. Coming in behind the net, Hare works it over to the far boards. Good job of stick handling, flips it back into the corner. Travis Albers has it. He couldn't handle it, and the Whalers just dump it down the ice. That gets by everybody. We'll have an icing call here as it's touched up, and that'll bring the face-off the opposite end of the rink. John?
Eric, we saw in front of the net one of our key matchups in tonight's game. Nick Chelios and Andrew Proskornicki battling in front. Proskornicki can't set up shop because Chelios keeps pushing him out of the way. This upcoming Friday night, folks, the Plymouth Whalers fan club, the Whale Watchers, will be making another trip on the road as they go up the 401 to London. And the Ice House as the Whalers take on the Knights Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $30 for non-members, $25 for members of the Whale Watchers. And that gets you your bus from Compuware Arena at 3 p.m. on Friday. And tickets to the game, it's a round trip on Friday as the Whalers battle their arch rivals, the London Knights.
What a great game that should be, no doubt. Quick shot taken right off the face-off. Rob Zepp had no trouble with that one, and looks like the net was knocked off its mooring, so we got a stoppage of play, and they'll do it all over again. Less than 5 minutes to go here in regulation play. 4:53 remaining here in the third. The Whalers on top of the Sting, 3-2.
And the all-Whaler team, I do believe we have a graphic coming up here. This is the Whalers all-time team. The top players, Pat Peake, Bob Wren, Kevin Brown. They were one of the most potent lines in Ontario Hockey League history. Brian Berard, the defenseman, Dwayne Harmer, and Robert Esch. Of course, the stellar net minding of Robert Esch last season for the Whalers led them deep into the playoffs.
Here now Van Buskirk defensively for the Sarnia Sting, brings it out to center ice. Harima comes up with a loose puck. He takes it over the line. We're going to have a penalty here against Plymouth. And this is time for an even upper opportunity as far as the Sarnia Sting are concerned here, John.
Well, Adam Giacomo throws a pick on Peter Cava at the blue line. Similar situation last night. Giacomo takes an elbowing penalty late in the game. The Owen Sound Players came to tie it up. So what the Whalers want to do again right now, go back to the aggressive forecheck on the penalty kill here, force the Sarnia Sting to make poor percentage passes in the neutral zone, pick them off, and force them back down the ice. The best way to kill off a penalty is in the offensive zone.
Adam takes a break for a couple of minutes. Let's see if we can see it here.
You see Giacomo on the left side,
yeah.
gets the cross check out on Cava, forces him offside, but takes away the pass option for Harima over to Peter Cava. A timeout is being called here. And I believe it's by the Sarnia Sting.
Yeah, they're looking to set something up on this opportunity, really get some kind of a passing combination going, John.
That's right. And you take a look at who's out on the ice right now. Peter Sarno, Peter Cava, most likely Ivan Novoseltsev. Also Ryan Van Buskirk on the point. Greg Willers. What they're going to want to do is get the point shots on the netminder Rob Zepp.
Look at the netminder Hewitt. He's over here at the break in the boards. He's away from the team. He's having a chat with his backup down there, looks like. They're probably getting a pointer or two from him as well, I imagine.
Well, Patrick DeRoche was the first-round pick of the Phoenix Coyotes last season, and DeRoche is an all-star in his own right, sitting out tonight. Most likely will get the start tomorrow night. Right now, the system that Mark Hunter is using for the Sarnia Sting is that if a goaltender loses, then they are out until the other goaltender loses. So Hewitt needs to steal one here tonight in the final 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Comes down to the fact if you win, you play. Is that it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Of course, you know, the simple but sweet way, you could say.
Yes, this is true. Here come the Sarnia Sting. They got the power play as there's 4:25 to go here in the third period of regulation play. The Sting find themselves down by 1 goal. And that one was whistled down on the offside, I believe, as it came out and in real quick. And the Sting were trapped in a mile, and not much they could do about that when they could not keep it from clearing the line.
And the reason why the Whalers set up a good defensive coverage at the blue line did not allow the Sting to get down low, forcing them to dump and chase.
That took off 20 seconds. We're down to 1:40 to go on the penalty to Adam Giacomo. Media One sports coverage of Plymouth Whaler hockey. Tonight's attendance, 3,555 fans on hand here tonight, plus all you fans that are at home watching. Certainly hope you're enjoying the telecast. We'll be right back here next Saturday night as the Whalers take on the Kitchener Rangers. But right now, they've got to handle this power play opportunity for the Sarnia Sting. A very effective job thus far. Comes back to the point. Whalers throws it over the far boards. Sting looking to set something up in close. Coming in behind there, right out front, a quick shot. And that went off the shoulder of Rob Zepp. Great shot there by Van Buskirk, looking for that upstairs corner, and Zepp would have none of that. Here they come. They're down to a minute remaining. Whalers. Van Buskirk once again. Back to Whalers. Kept it at the line. Oh, I didn't think so. I could see some white ice between the line from our angle up here on that one. That had to be whistled down.
Well, the Sarnia Sting are getting a little fancy trying to set up Whalers with a big shot at the point. Brian Van Buskirk sneaks in from the right point, takes a shot on the short side. Zepp showing a little bit of space on the short side as you see the puck coming out behind the net. 4 Whalers on the left wing side of the ice, and the shot hits the outside of the net, or else we could have had a tie game. But the Whalers this evening on the penalty kill, we've seen a couple of times. 3 or 4 men on the wrong side of the ice.
Whalers control this one for a few seconds. Van Buskirk sweeps it right back into the Plymouth zone. 50 seconds to go now in the Sting power play. They control on the far boards. Peter Sarno over the point. Konakia, he couldn't handle. Whalers coming in, trying to come up with a loose puck and clear it. They can't. Into the corner it goes, off the stick this time with Novoselicev. Behind the net. Here come the Whalers, trying to clear it out. They can't. Van Buskirk keeps it in. Takes a look, sweeps over the far side. Van Buskirk goes down in a heap. A quick shot. That goes off the stick and goes high up into the crowd. Into the end Blues up there once again. And we'll have another face-off here in the Whaler end. Down to 3:07 to go. Just 27 seconds remaining in the penalty to Adam Kalajakamo.
Well, to talk about the way that the Whalers had broken down a little bit in their own zone, Eric, you take a look at the Peter Cava goal in the second period, which momentarily gave the Sting a 2-1 lead. He was standing in front of the goal. Nobody there to knock him down. So the Whalers fortunate a little bit here this evening as the Sarnia Sting are having some difficulty connecting. Of course, when you hold a team to only 19 shots on goal through the first 57 minutes of the hockey game, you're going to have the chance to win a game.
Here come the Sarnia Sting once again, trying to set it up one more time for 20 seconds. Skating right over the shot and a big save made by Zepp. Kept an eye on that one and all the way. We got 3 minutes to go. A quick reminder, post-game show's coming up. We've got our player of the game. We'll review the stats, the highlights of all the goals that were scored. Make sure you stay tuned to us for that coverage coming up at the end of the game. Gary Durack will be downstairs with our Media One player of the game. Face-off will be to the right of the netminder, Rob Zepp, controlled by the Sting. 15 more seconds on the power play. Comes loose in front, tipped just wide. Now it's loose in the far corner. Mara goes after it. He's all over Ivan Novoselicev. 2 seconds remaining, 1 second to go. Whalers are going to kill this one off. Cleared up over the line and down the ice it goes. Great job by the penalty kill. Kalajakomo's got a loose puck. Skates it on here with a backhander. Is steered just wide off the backhand, rather the glove and the blocker of the netminder Hewitt. He was sharp on that one. Kalajakomo with an opportunity, trying to get back and do some back checking. Taking it in deep, looking for the centering pass. Off the stick of Novoselicev that time, did not connect. Comes to the side of the net. Lifted high off the glass and down the ice it goes. We're down to 2:10 remaining here in the third. Clearing pass into the zone, goes in behind the net. Zepp leaves it for Paul Mara, who sweeps it off the glass but not out. Willers just dumps it back into the corner. Harold Druken has it now. Spins into the corner, tries to come up with a loose puck and does. Sweeps it off the glass again. Willers got a hold of it, but he couldn't keep it in this time. And he's bothered from behind by Gouldy. Back up to Kalajakomo. Andrew Pruskernicki tips it into the zone. He's tripped up and over the line. No call there as he has a few words with the referee. Comes here to the near boards. Willers, again, could not hold it in. It goes down the ice. And we'll have an icing call here against Plymouth. 1:32 to go here in the third. We got a wild finish coming up. The Whalers on top, 3-2.
Well, the reason why the Sarnia Sting right now are trying to, as you say, open up the play, they need to start to run and gun here in the final 90 seconds of the game. Well, what's going to happen here, the reason why there's going to be a goaltending change from Patrick DeRoche's coming in is to get an unofficial timeout. The Sarnia Sting have already used their timeout, but actually Mark Hunter pulls DeRoche back. he may not be allowed to make the goalie substitution here at the moment, but we've seen this on numerous occasions. What they're going to do is they're going to save the goaltending change, because if DeRoche comes on, he gets a warm-up. And that is something at the OHL, it's one of my pet peeves with the league. They've got to find a rule to get away from that, because that is just an abuse of the timeout system. I think the Whalers are calling a timeout here with 92 seconds to go in the final frame.
You call that a loophole in the rules? Is that what you call it?
It's definitely a loophole in the rules.
Wow.
Although, the London Knights have got 3 or 4 different ways to find loopholes. My favorite is that last year their captain, Jim Moss, would take his skate, the heel, and pick a hole in the ice. He'd skate away, and he'd point down to it at the blue line, going, "Linesman, there's a hole in the ice." So, of course, they had to come and fix up the ice. They skated over to the Knights bench, got the water bottle, so they got an unofficial timeout out of it. Patrick DeRoche may go in a little bit later, though, in this third period. We saw it last year where Mark Hunter would certainly like to change up the goaltenders late in the hockey game to get that extra timeout.
John, I think that was probably the plan there when we mentioned that Hewitt had gone over and talked to DeRoche there during that timeout that the Sarnia Sting had taken, and that was probably what it was about.
Well, that's right, except last year we also saw it backfire against the Sarnia Sting in a game here at the Compuware Sports Arena. It was a 1-goal hockey game. The Sarnia Sting changed it up, and the Whalers go in and scored ice the victory against Sarnia. So sometimes when you put a cold goaltender in after 58, 59 minutes, it doesn't come back to, or it comes back to haunt you.
Shots have closed at 27-21 right now. The Sarnia Sting have been sneaking up a little bit, but we'll see if the Whalers can hold them off right here. 1:32 to go, and they'll probably pull the netminder here any moment. Van Buskirk, quick shot to score! Right from the top of the slot. Zepp got a piece of it, John Bauer, but it wasn't enough.
I'd like to see the reverse angle on the shot. I don't think Rob Zepp saw it, but he's been kind of jumpy tonight. He hasn't been flat on the ice when he goes down in the butterfly. He's kind of pouncing around on the ice. It may have slid underneath his pad. We're going to have to wait to see on the replay exactly what happened off the draw, but the Sarnia Sting get a good break. They get the timeout at the right time, and they come back and tie the game up at 3 with 1:26 to play. The face-off is won by the Whalers, actually, but Sean Fisher can't clear. It's kept in at the point by Ryan Van Buskirk. He takes a shot, it deflects off a stick, and then it's Harima who takes the drive, and it does go right through the wickets of Zepp. His stick was not flat on the ice, and it ends up in the back of the cage.
1:20 remaining in regulation play now as David Legwan has it for Plymouth. Tried to get the pass ahead to Rick Smith. Jumps over the blue line, a good job. Rick Smith doing the work, trying to get it back across the middle, nobody home. But the Sarnia Sting defense, out come the Sting. Working it up on the left side, they can't handle it. Now it's into the Whaler end. Deep into the Whaler zone it goes. This time it's going to be picked up and brought out on the near side. Fisher. Over for Mara. That pass intercepted. The Sting bring it in once again. Rob Zepp leaves it behind the net. Chelios sweeps it up the boards. Unable to get it out. Quick shot taken, steered aside that time with no trouble by Zepp. Comes here to the near boards. Kornakia couldn't handle it. Now the Whalers in control. They couldn't get it outside the line. Skating in to keep it in play. It's loose right to Zepp. And he covers up that one, not letting anything get away. The Sarnia Sting have come alive. We're down to 33 seconds to go.
Well, Zepp goes down and uses the paddle to block the puck. Sometimes that is a dangerous play for a goaltender, but Rob Zepp makes it look easy. He goes down, leans straight over, hunched over on all fours, puts the stick right across the crease. That blocks the puck from going through the 5-hole and puts this big mitt on the disc to freeze it.
Hewitt's got to be a happy young man with that goal that was scored just a moment ago. Indeed, this whole Sarnia team was very happy as they went right down the line, congratulating one another on that goal that was scored to tie the hockey game. Back to the point. One time steered just wide. Van Buskirk cranked that one hard. It was wide of the net. Zepp went down to get it, but it comes loose. And the net gets knocked off its mooring for another face-off deep in the Plymouth zone. That killed off just a couple of seconds, down to 27.8. Score tied at 3 as regulation play winds down.
And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Ontario Hockey League, if the game is tied after regulation time, same as the NHL, a 5-minute sudden death period will be played.
Nobody scores. It goes in the books as a tie. Face-off to the right of Zepp. Harold Druken. Kava. Linesman having a chat with Druken right now as he's chased out of the circle. So Caligiacomo comes in. He's going to try to gain control. Caligiacomo. Caligiacomo took Cava down. Oh my, got away with that one. Here comes Harold Druken. Caligiacomo at the line. He's ridden out of the play. It comes loose in the Sarnia zone, now swept loose at center ice. 10 seconds to go in regulation play. The Whalers trying to pick it up at center ice. The Sting looking for one more opportunity as they throw it deep into the Plymouth Whaler end. Zepp leaves it behind the net for Chelios. And Chelios just sets it up there and holds it up. At the buzzer, we get a stoppage of play now. At the end of regulation play, we're all knotted up at 3.
And I'd love to see them just play till there's a win, eliminate ties completely. But don't go to the shootout, whatever you do.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. Here now to the near side, the Whalers look to control at center ice. This is Eric Gouldy. He can't find the handle. Harima has it. He left it there. And the Sting pick it up just outside the blue line of the Plymouth Whalers. Sarnia back to Van Buskirk. Up to the line, Harima once again. They're 3-on-2 and over the line. Van Buskirk back to Cava. Over to Harima. Harima tried to throw it out front. He's checked off the play. Good job there. Goes into the corner now where it's picked off by Rob Pollock. He can't handle it. And finally the referee loses sight of it as Jeff Harima skates into that scrum, and we get a stoppage of play face-off to the left of the Whaler netminder, Rob Zepp.
They've had 2 or 3 opportunities tonight where they've gotten in tight on him. You got to be quick.
Now the Whalers try to control on their own end. Julian Smith comes up with it. Tries to wind it up on the boards. Finds Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald breaks right through center ice. Busts in over the line. He's taken out of the play by Watson defensively. So it's cleared up to the blue line and back to center ice once again. The Whalers are offside. Now they touch up. And Watson clips it down to the Whaler end. Whalers look to set it up defensively and try to clear their zone, but the Sarnia Sting have it instead. Down low. Here are the Sting once again. Setting it up offensively, trying to get the forecheck going. Peter Sarno. Along with Jamison. Quick shot. Knocked down, lifted high to center ice. Right now, it's all Sarnia Sting carrying the play to the Whalers in the Whalers zone. Up with a loose puck, skating right in, looking to get a shot. There's going to be a penalty, no doubt about that one. Is that your basic good penalty, John, or not?
Not really. Both Nick Chelios and Paul Mara were beaten out late February last season.
From the faceoff, controlled by the Sting. They work it down low for Cava. Harima loose right in front of the net. And finally, the netminder Zepp covers it up, and Harima gets tangled up with Paul Mara. The linesmen get in there very quickly to separate everybody and get that calmed down.
Actually, I want to correct myself. Kevin Holdridge.
Minute 51 or less of this power play opportunity for the Sarnia Sting. They can take advantage here on the power play. They'll take a win back to Sarnia with them for the rematch on Sunday night. They control. One time, the save made by Zepp. That was off the stick of Van Buskirk, and it's finally cleared outside the line.
And Zepp is down.
And Zepp is down.
He was
and
slashed.
He's down in a heap, and I don't know if the ref saw it or not.
I don't think so, but I think he was slashed in behind the play. Hopefully one of our cameras in the end zone caught the what happened. He took the shot, and then there were 2 or 3 players right in on top, and I think he got chopped. Ed Roberts from Great Lakes Hockey Alliance, one of our beat reporters, is indicating that it.
That one's driven all the way down into the Sarnia zone. Hewitt just lets it go behind the net for Van Buskirk. Controls now in this breakout on the power play. Ryan Van Buskirk skates it right up through center and just drives it hard into Plymouth end. Bounces loose into the opposite corner. Randy Fitzgerald has his man tied up. Mara couldn't get to the puck in time. Sarnia works the far boards. Tries to set up the play. Novoseltsev. They are cycling very well right now. Blackbird. Van Buskirk once again. Throws it right out front. That's knocked aside. Comes to the near boards. 50 seconds to go in the Sarnia power play. Back down to Van Buskirk. Trying to get the shot through into the slot. Goes into the corner. Wound around in behind the net. Peter Sarno. Camped out right there. Brings it out. Van Buskirk fakes the shot. Gets it over for Canuckia. That shot knocked down. Here come the Whalers if they're here. A little tired, though, on this penalty kill. They're just going to have to elect to knock it down the ice, John.
A soft shot in on Zepp. Rebound comes out in front of the net. The Whalers a good 2-man game between Fitzgerald and Fisher to ice the biscuit.
20 seconds to go now in the power play for the Sting. Here comes Willers at center. Taken away from him by the Whalers. Driven right back up into the Sting zone. Kanakia has it there. Right there with him is Legwan. Bernarski comes in to help out. He's all over Cava. Won't have any of that. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. The Whalers are back to full strength as Benarski comes up with the puck behind the net. Benarski for Legwan. Legwan tries to get it out. He's met there defensively by Willers, who has it control in behind his net. Up to the blue line. 1:20 remaining in overtime. Paul Mara, rink wide for Newman. Newman bothered there as he couldn't handle the puck. Now comes up to the Whaler blue line. Back the other way comes Druken. Druken just steered it ahead. Scrambling play. Druken skates right in. A shot from a bad angle. Went off the shoulder of Hewitt. Mara threw it at the net. Hewitt will have none of that with Colagiacomo and Harold Druken right there.
He actually controlled it. He was at the bottom of the left wing face-off circle. Couldn't get a good shot on goal.
Harold Druken on his face-off. Tries to win the draw. Scrambling play in the corner. Working it along the boards. Jamison comes out with it defensively. Here come the Sting. Harima. Jamison there with him. Jamison up with a puck. A shot. It's off the blocker. And off the glass here to the near side. Zepp got a good piece of that. Less than a minute to go. 45 seconds remaining in overtime. Here come the Whalers one more time. Colagiacomo. They're 3-on-2. If they break it over the line outside, they do. Colagiacomo shooting! Just missing the tip there was Gouldy. It's tipped just wide. The Sting. Harima checked into the boards hard by Paul Mara. Oh my, he got him hard. 30 seconds to go here in the overtime period. Colagiacomo wings it in deep. Goes in behind the net. Hewitt leaves it there for Ben Buskirk, who didn't want to take the play. The Whalers, Fisher keeps it in play in the far boards. Legwan has it. He's checked off the play. And the Whalers come up with a loose puck at center. 10 seconds remaining now in the overtime period. Baltman couldn't quite handle that one cleanly. Comes loose in the Whalers zone. The Whalers looking now to set up some defense. They go into the corner where it's left loose there for number 22. Polinick at the buzzer. And that's the end of the hockey game, folks. It's an overtime 3-3 tie between the Sarnia Sting and the Plymouth Whalers. Paul Mara played an outstanding game tonight. He ended up with what ended up to be the go-ahead goal for the Plymouth Whalers, but it wasn't to be, as Jeff Rima scored the tying goal for the Sarnia Sting here in the late going of the third period, forcing the overtime period, and it all ends up tied at 3. We'll take a break and be back with our post-game show. Gary Durack will be downstairs with our player of the game. All that and more. Make sure you stay tuned as Media One Sports coverage of Plymouth Whalers hockey continues. And he so happens to be tonight's #1 star, Gary Durack.
Eric, our player of the game is Paul Mara from the Whalers. Paul, it looked like you almost had your second game winner in as many nights, but this is a defensive struggle tonight. What were you guys trying to do to open it up a little bit?
We were just trying to play our game. We know Sarnia had a real powerful team coming in, and we just tried to play our own game and not really adjust to what they're bringing to the table, but what we have.
You play this same team again tomorrow night. What do you expect out of the rematch?
Pretty much the same thing. It's just a change of place here. And I think we're going to come out strong tomorrow night. We're not satisfied with a tie tonight, but tomorrow night we're going to come out even stronger and hopefully get a win.
Your only 2 losses so far this year have come on the road, and your next 5 out of the 6 games are on the road. How do you guys prepare for that stretch?
We really don't prepare any differently. On the road or here at home, we play the same. We come out hard, real powerful team up front, and we're going to keep on doing that, and I think we can get some wins on the road.
Paul, congratulations on a great game tonight. Good luck tomorrow night. Eric, back up to you.
Thanks, Gary. Great job with our player of the game down there, Paul Mara, #2 for the Plymouth Whalers, and with the goal here tonight that we had hoped would be the game winner. Unfortunately, didn't turn out that way. And right now, we're going to take just a few moments to look back at the goals scored in this hockey game. And really, the Sarnia Sting got things started out, and they took advantage of a shorthanded situation to register the first goal of the night. This one coming from number 25 on a break, high over the stick side of the netminder Rob Zepp, off the stick of Ivan Novoseltsev to put the Sarnia Sting on top in a shorthanded situation, 1-0. That coming at 4:23 of the first. But Rick Smith, or David Legwan rather, takes advantage of kind of a half pass, half shot into the corner by Chris Chelios. He comes up with it. Watch him put it right between the pads of Hewitt as he comes up with it. Hewitt lost track of it momentarily, and Legwan, very, very heady play right there with the pad just above the ice, stuffed it right under the pad. And the game was tied at 1 at the end of the first period. Legwan from Rick Smith and number 3, Nick Chelios. So into the second period it goes. This time again, the Sting looking to take the lead here, which they do. They set it up right out front. Peter Cava left all by himself in a power play situation, and really Rob Zepp, not much he could do about that. It was put up over his shoulder into the net at the 12-14 mark. Cava putting the Sarnia Sting on top 2-1 at your score at that point. Assist to Sarno and one of his other teammates as well. Now the Whalers come right back themselves. This is a shot taken from the near point by Chelios, and he just drives it all the way past the netminder Hewitt. Nick Chelios from the Plymouth Whalers with an assist to number 14 on that one. Jamie Lalonde, and the game was tied at 2 at the end of 2, and that took us into the